Let's rock.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Put it down, put it down, put it down.
Step aside, step aside, step aside.
Left, right, left, right, left.
Do the Cupid shuffle.
Welcome back to
Nurture in the dark.
In the Dark.
In the dark.
It's the shittiest podcast on the internet, and we're
That's
here
what
with
they're all
you,
saying.
the host, Chase the Chaz Screepack.
And Brad and the Brad and the Ulster.
And we have a great episode for everyone here
I think
tonight.
it's going to shape up to be pretty good.
I think it's going to be pretty fun. I'm ready to let loose. So Braden and I did a little something special for today's episode. Braden, you want to let them know what we're going to be getting to later on in the show?
So later on in the show, we're going to do one of our beloved segments, Shit Talk, where we're going to watch 2 bad movies and shit talk them on the pod. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll like them.
Maybe we'll like them.
Yeah.
So get ready for that. And those 2 movies are... Because it's not in the dark. We don't got to keep anybody
No, it's not in the dark. We can tell.
We did a double feature of the Sony Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
But not the good Sony Spider-Man movies.
Nope, the worst ones, most would argue.
Yep. And you and I might argue which one is worse.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get to that
Yeah,
point.
that'll be a point of conversation for later in the night.
Yes. Because either way, I don't think either of us is wrong.
No.
No.
We both agree that they're both bad movies.
Those movies are Morbius and Madam Web.
Yes.
The 2 bad Morbius, Madam Web,
Meh.
not MCU movies. Not MCU movies.
Yes, and some of the most recent ones as well.
Yeah. I think they are the 2 most recent ones.
Yeah.
Morbius feels like it's been out for a really long fucking time.
Because it feels like it's from 2009.
But not 2003.
No.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that. But as always, we have a few things to talk about up top before we get to those movies. But Brayden and I want to start with kind of recapping some of the stuff we saw last night.
Yeah.
So Brayden and I, to celebrate, it's my birthday today.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Age is just a number, but beauty is forever.
And how old are you, Chase?
I'm 32. I'm going to be honest. I could lie. I could have lied. I'm not going to lie.
I was expecting you to lie.
No?
Yeah.
You thought I was going to be straight up
No,
honest?
I was expecting
You were
to
expecting
lie.
me to
Yeah.
lie. I know, but no. I'm not.
Well, good for you.
Thank you. I say embrace your age.
That
You know,
shows. Yeah, that shows that you're
go back.
gaining wisdom like people of.
you can't go
of
back
your
in
age,
time.
yeah.
You know, as we may or may not have learned in one of our shit talk
You
movies. for
certainly
tonight.
cannot. You can't change things, no matter how much you want to.
No. But you can give a solid pep talk if you need to.
Certainly.
We'll get to that. So Brayden and I saw Return of the King Extended Edition in theaters last night.
Yes.
It was the first time in 20 plus years
Since we were just kids.
since we were just kids. Brayden was 7, I was 11.
Yeah, I was 7 and you were 11.
And we were just kids.
And we were just kids.
And so we decided it was time to go take another check. And me and you have gone on and on and on this pod. We even did a Return of the King special a couple months back. But
The audience is well aware of our love for the Return of the King.
So we're just going to do a quick thing up top where some of the things we noticed in the extended edition that... and the
Right, because
thoughts we
neither of
on
us
them.
have seen the extended edition in a while.
It's been a while. It's been probably a couple of years since
and
I
it's
watched
such a
it.
long movie that you forget things every time.
I mean, even the non-extended edition is a long fucking movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's easy to keep even that long version in your head as opposed to like the really fucking long version.
Right.
Because some scenes, okay, give your thoughts and then I'll give mine. We'll kind of bounce back and forth with this, but I think it gave us enough to say, especially for a movie we've both seen.
Yeah. So we both saw it with our girlfriends, and I described it to Kaylee recently as like, it's like a train that's getting going, you know, where the opening and beginning parts of the movie, which by the way, it's a 4-hour movie. So I'm talking about the first 2 hours of the movie
Yeah.
is the story getting going.
Yeah. Hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah.
Mostly none of it I think is bad. I enjoyed it all, but I am a super fan of Lord of the Rings. So if this were like a general audience, I feel like at that point, 2 hours, that's
a whole movie.
a whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still getting to like,
I don't think the battle in Palanor Field starts at all
no,
in the first 2 hours.
we're just getting there. Like probably, yeah, within the first 2 hours, we're just getting to the point where like, okay, we're gearing up to fight Mordor. And so that was an interesting experience because I feel like the theatrical version is a lot better paced just because it's shorter.
It's my favorite version.
Yeah. And like, it's still,
Must have wrote the Madam Web script.
yeah, it still like takes a while to get going and like it's a slow burn until it like suddenly isn't.
Yes.
In the theatrical version, but this one it's much more of a slow burn.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't hate it.
No. But you totally see scenes that you're just like, totally get why that was cut out.
Yeah,
Totally
like
get why
I
that
can
was cut
see
out.
the editor's process with the scenes that they cut. And I also noticed, this is something I always forget when I watch this, is that there's a lot of scenes where like they're the original scenes from the theatrical cut, but they're just longer.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like it just seems like a lot of scenes just go on for way too long.
Yeah,
and you feel that they're going
just,
on
like,
for way too long.
extra dialogue, and like you can't always clock it all the time.
Sometimes it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like,
but like it just there's that feeling of just like, oh, that was
like
a little bit different.
Just to say one of like the smaller ones, there's a scene at the beginning when Mary and Pippin are doing the little dance and jig at the bar after the battle, from the last movie, and Gandalf kind of looks at Pippin and Pippin like takes a minute. That's not in the theatrical version.
Right,
it's
it
just
interrupts
them.
their song.
Right.
Like their song, the Green Dragon song, stops in the middle.
So like
of
a
it,
little
but-
thing like that, nothing.
Yeah.
You could leave it, you could take it, whatever.
Right.
But there were more scenes as it kind of went on that I was like, didn't need this.
Yeah.
Glad it's here. But then there were some that I think hurt the movie.
Oh, certainly.
Like one in particular, we're gonna bounce around a lot, but there was the part. It's near the end of the movie. It's Frodo and Sam in Mordor, and it's that whole scene of them getting like caught up in like one of the marches, and it's like a funny scene.
Yeah.
But like by this point in the movie, funny scenes are it just didn't feel like it worked, which I totally get why they cut it, because it was like Goofy at a time that like Goofy's done.
Yeah, and
Goofy's
it's already
done.
such a long movie at that point that they're already at the destination. Like they don't need another thing that they just kind of like get
Bumble
into
around.
Get into and get out of really quickly.
Yeah. I didn't like that scene. That scene really kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, especially at that point. Now we did notice at the latter half of the movie, like really at the end of the movie, there's nearly nothing cut out. Like it's pretty much just the theatrical release.
Yeah. By the time Sam decides that he will carry Frodo up the mountain, from that point forward,
It's just the theatrical.
It's just the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
But we are past the length of the theatrical cut by the time that part comes around.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
For about an hour or so more.
Yeah. So, which is good. Is good. But man, what else? There was a couple other scenes that I just didn't jive with.
Well, the scenes that we went up to each other to talk about were the ones where it's Ewan and Mary who already snuck into the Rohirrim March that they're not supposed to be in to go to battle at Pelennor Fields. And it's just a small scene of them like camping, because they mention it takes like 3 days to get there, so like they have to camp. And they're just like chilling with their helmets off, just like talking in broad daylight, like supposed to be in disguise. Like,
super weird.
No women are supposed to be here at this point.
Right.
And she's very obviously a woman, and he's very obviously a hobbit.
Yep.
And they're just doing nothing
Around
to,
people
like,
that would know her.
around people who would know her. Like it's kind of a small kingdom.
Like you could argue like, oh, maybe they're back enough in the ranks that like these lesser people might not know them, but it's just like it just felt off.
She's literally one of the most important women in their kingdom.
If they would have kept like their gear on, that the whole scene, I wouldn't even
worked.
thought of anything.
Yeah, it would have worked.
But the fact that they didn't, it was just like
that breaks the immersion.
And you
a
don't
little
need
bit.
to see it. There's so many extra scenes of like characters that are off screen for a long time that when they come back, it's so impactful because they've been off screen for so long. And that's one of them.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you should have just left it.
Yeah, just let us wonder what's going on. We don't need to see what everyone is doing at every single moment.
We talked about the scene where Aragorn goes and gets the dead army, and that scene goes on a lot longer.
Way longer.
But I still was like, okay, you could probably keep that. But then it's like there's like 2 more scenes of them getting on the boat and using the ghost army. I mean, they do the same ghost army trick on the boat where they get on the boat and then they do the thing where they charge and the ghosts come. So then they're doing it twice when it actually happens later.
It cheapens it. And it also like drops the suspense for the Battle of Pelennor Fields because you know a ghost army is coming to save the day. In the theatrical cut, we don't know if Aragorn actually convinced them to come with him or if they're even on the way.
Yeah.
Like you don't see them up until the point that they arrive at the docks from that point.
As a movie,
Yeah.
certainly better to do it I think the theatrical cut way. As a book, though, that kind of extra stuff, it's stuff you could see in a book. Even though that ghost shit isn't even in the book, but whatever.
Yeah, that is another point I wanted to make is, like, I would say the extended edition is a lot more accurate to the books to an extent. There's a few things that they changed. Like, obviously, Saruman doesn't die right there.
At the beginning, yeah.
But, like...
Which that was another scene that it was like, I don't mind that they showed it, but it just goes on stupid long.
Yeah.
You could cut just things from that scene to make it still be in.
Yeah.
But fuck.
Which, to be fair, that scene does go almost exactly like the books, besides the part where Saruman and Wormtongue die. Like, he does come out and, like, use his voice to, like, speak with Gandalf and Theoden and try and, like, deceive them and convince them to, like, let him go and stuff. But obviously they had to change that because neither edition has the Scouring of the Shire part, because both agreed there's no way you can fit that in.
You really just need to end the movie at that point.
Yeah.
Things like that. I mean, there's a lot of, like, extra Sam speeches that I think lessens the good ones. Like, there's too much, like, Sam being, like, cheerfully positive, that by the time it gets to the good fucking speech where he puts him on his back, you've heard him just say so many random like, that's what I mean. You feel why these scenes were cut.
Yeah, it's diminishing returns. Like, the more you have something, the less valuable it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get why they cut certain parts. There were certain scenes where I wish that they didn't cut. Even though, like, you don't necessarily need the scenes. Like, there were certain scenes, just, like, extra lore scenes, like where Gandalf was, like, explaining the Shadow of Mordor coming over, and
the game.
Yeah, the game. And, like, the Shadow of Mordor, like, how, like, Sauron darkens the skies so, like, his orc armies can come out.
Sure,
and, like, just like that. Like, I found
cool
it interesting.
Cool
Even though we don't need to know that stuff, it makes the ensuing battle make a little bit more sense as to why certain things are happening.
Right.
So, like, I wish they would have kept certain stuff like that in. But otherwise, like, I understand, for the most part, their decisions to cut the scenes that they did.
Yes. It totally makes sense. And I'm glad that's something I've noticed, and I'm glad it's something to, like, be aware of for the future, because, like, I think a lot of people see the, like, the extended edition. When you think extended edition, like, people are like, we're gonna watch all the extended versions, and it's the true version. It's just like, yeah, but is it the better as a movie version? And I don't think it is.
I feel like there's always been this sentiment for the longest time that, like, if you're gonna get anyone into the Lord of the Rings, you need to go full raw dog into it. Full torque into it. Show them the extended editions first, which I think is a horrible way to introduce someone to Lord of the Rings. It's an awful way. Like, only super fans who are already into the story enjoy the extended editions. Like, regular people who don't know anything about it are not going to give a shit and are going to be bored.
It was us 4 and 2 other people at the movie theater last night.
Yeah, there was like, literally 6 people in our theater total, and we were 4 of them. Some mental maths there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and, like, as proof, when I first showed Sam the Lord of the Rings, I showed him Fellowship Extended first, because that was the original plan, and it was just too long, and he didn't know any of it. He fell asleep near the end. I was like, probably should have just went. And then I showed him Two Towers normal, and Two Towers was actually the one that he was like, oh, okay, now I'm in.
These are good movies.
Yeah. Not that he didn't like the first one, it was fucking long. Yeah. And he didn't know. And one of my friends actually years ago explained that.
The first one's the most lore heavy too.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah. There's so much added to that one. But yeah, one of my buddies, he told me, he was like, no, dude, if you're going to show somebody for the first time, show them the theatrical cut. And I really took that to heart when he told me that.
Yeah. It's just it's not accessible for regular people.
Still had a great time watching it last
certainly.
night. I wouldn't have broken my birthday any other way.
Yeah.
But there,
And I was glad it was the extended edition. Like, I was happy to see that, even though I knew it was going to be a long time.
Yeah.
But it was just because I haven't seen them in so long, because they are such...
It's good to put distance between.
Yeah, they're an endeavor to watch. So it is, like, nice to watch them every once in a while, especially on the big screen, because you notice things that you don't normally notice.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah, there were... a couple things, but there was a certain sword. The
sword scene, we both noticed that, like, the sword kept changing colors.
It was either blue or it was a normal sword.
Yeah, and we don't know if that was the theater or if that was a continuity issue.
The theater was constantly changing dimness.
I think
it
was
the
the
screen.
Theater. Yeah,
I don't know.
The theater had a weird lighting issue going on.
It did, But I don't know when it comes to that sword. I'd have to check it in, because if it was blue, it made sense because there were orcs nearby.
That's what. That was
So
the first time I noticed that
makes sense.
detail. I was like, oh, that's cool that his sword. I never noticed that before. That his sword is blue
And
because
then it
there's
kept
orcs
changing
nearby.
back and forth.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, it's black now. It's like, oh, now it's normal. Now it's blue again.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we had a good time. I think one of my favorite things that happened last night was when we walked into the movie theater, and I was like fumbling to find our pre-ordered tickets.
Yeah.
And I said, for Lord of the Rings, and the girl was just like, yeah, I kind of figure you guys look like Lord of the Rings guys,
Yeah,
or
just
something
took a
like.
guess.
You look like a Lord of the Rings fan.
I mean, it was between
like,
Lord of the
all right.
Rings or Inside Out 2, and
Yeah.
I agree. We don't look like the crowd to see Inside Out 2.
Not without a child,
Because
between the four of us.
It was us and majority like middle school, high schoolers there.
Yeah. So no wonder she said that. But I just thought, I laughed when she said it. I was just like, that's a compliment. Really, it is. Like, it sounds kind of like manky funny, but it is totally a compliment to me.
Yeah, we look like people into Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Because we are.
So, that was our Lord of the Rings experience.
Yeah.
Fun shit.
Very enjoyable.
Good time.
I recommend, if you can ever catch them in a theater, do it.
Definitely. I was cheesing the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time I was into it.
It's a 4-hour movie. I got up to pee once.
Me too.
That was how much I didn't want. And this is a movie I've seen at least a dozen times.
Could have
likely
peed
more.
whenever.
Yeah. I know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. If I could just erase my memory and watch it without knowing again for the first time.
The closest you ever got to that was watching Sam.
It really was. And it makes me want it for myself even more.
Yeah.
I'm selfish. I'm a terrible person. I see the joy my friends have and I crave it. So that's that.
That's that.
Let's dive into new nerd shit.
Let's do it.
So why don't you start? Because I have a few things I want to show you during new nerd shit
Okay.
as we talk about them.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my new nerd shit pretty short because I don't have much, to be honest. I just wanted to first mention I watched Invincible Season 2. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It took me...
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was very good, I thought. I thought it was better than the first season.
Me too.
It took me a while to watch Season 2 for this long because it's been out for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just because, like, Invincible can be such a heavy show.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I just wasn't in the mood to see, like, people be pasted by superheroes and stuff.
That's why you're still not caught up on The Boys.
That's why I'm still not caught up on The Boys, because I loved season 1 of The Boys, but I'm like, this might be too much for me. Like, this is just, like, I don't necessarily like seeing people just get their heads caved in all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad I decided to watch it because I loved it. Like, I feel like it took everything that was good about the first season and just enhanced it a little bit more.
Yeah.
They tweaked a few of the characters I noticed to be a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I think like his relationship with Amber was written a little better this season.
Sure, yeah. Well, it felt more like a real relationship that real people, not so much the superhero aspect of it, but like it felt like something real teenagers go through with their relationships.
Yes, and I was very glad when J.K. Simmons' character showed up again. Spoilers, but like he's listed in the second season. So
Yeah, and he comes in pretty earlier on than I expected.
It's not super spoilers, but like I was just so excited to see him again, even though like he's genuinely awful. Mm-hmm. But like
and they kind of start making him not awful.
They kind of start making him not awful. I'm like, how can you redeem this guy? Like he shoved his son in front of a subway and killed like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
With his son's body.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you come back from that? But like you do kind of
I love a lot of the themes. Sorry, not to cut you off. I love the themes of the second season.
It's so good. Like you do kind of understand where he's coming from and just like what he is. Mm-hmm. And like he doesn't apologize for anything because that's not really who he is.
Yeah.
But like you start to see him change.
It's like he has regret, but he doesn't want to apologize for it.
Yeah, and once you realize like the state that the galaxy is in and like the threat that the Viltrumites pose to the rest of the galaxy, like
a lot of world building.
Yeah, a lot of world building, a lot of like you get to see other planets and stuff. It's very cool. Mm-hmm. I liked all the new alien species we learned about. But yeah, like once you see that kind of change in him, like you kind of realize like we're in this state where like we can take whatever we can get.
Yeah.
Because like we genuinely need everything we can to fight this.
Yeah.
Because no one stands a chance so far.
Crazy. I'm so excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the whole second season. I really did like it. It had a lot of different storylines. So by the time it ended with the brain guy that could jump multiverses and shit.
Yeah.
That he was
Very
the
interesting
end
character.
game villain. I was just like, yeah, his story was interesting, but like, what about the Viltrumites and all that shit? Like, that's what I'm really interested
more,
in.
but I think they're saving that more for
Right,
like,
you should.
like, that's what the main story's gonna be about. So they're giving us teases for it, which like that Viltrumite fight.
Yeah,
I still play that back in my mind when he fucking.
it's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, as you come to expect with this show, there were a lot of like deaths or like fake out deaths, but before you knew they were fake out deaths, graphic. Really
Very
cool,
graphic.
Surprising deaths.
Makes you feel something.
What's his face gets shot in the back of the head.
Oh my goodness!
I was really like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
He doesn't. But
And
like,
I felt something. I felt something for all of them, even though they were characters I didn't really give a shit about in the first season, because they all kind of suck in their own way.
Yeah.
Like they're all kind of like shitty people, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Like
Not as
like,
much as like the boys' superheroes are.
No,
but,
like they have redeeming qualities.
yeah.
But like, yeah, when that happened, I was like, this is so visceral and fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't want to see these characters go out that way.
Yeah.
And so like,
It was good to see they didn't, but when you think
Right.
that they are, it's just like, holy. And it's while like other superheroes are just off planet doing something else. So you're just like, there's no help for them.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many little stories. I don't want to dive too deep into it, but it's like you got the stuff with Mark's mom, you got the stuff with the brother, you got the stuff with the dude with the glasses. What's his name? Who's like a robot, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that whole arc.
That's all good. Yeah, they delve into all the characters.
It's the pink girl, not Starlight. That's the boys. Adam Eve.
Adam Eve. Yeah.
Like her storyline, everything she's going through.
Yeah,
really good shit.
Yeah, I loved everything that had to do with the brother. I thought that was a very interesting storyline, like a very comic booky storyline. I was actually very excited to see where his mom's storyline was going to go, because after
How do you come back from that?
season 1 ended, you're like, yeah, like he literally described you as his pet. Yeah.
Ugh. And like, you see that. I mean, she's going to all those like therapy sessions. And,
And then that one guy snubs her because he realizes that his wife, I think, died from the attack, Nolan's attack.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. It really gets into some cool shit. And now that we're talking about it, I knew I liked the second season more, but it's been a couple months now since I watched it, but like way more. Like season 1 I liked, but even when season 2 started, I wasn't jumping on to watch it until it was done.
Yeah.
Season 3, I'll probably start watching
I'll
right
watch
away.
it immediately. Yeah. Yeah, season 2 finally like hooked me, you know?
And hopefully there's not as much of a, like there was like a 2 or 3 year gap in between the first season and the second. So that's another thing.
I think that's another reason why I didn't jump
away.
into it right away, because I was just like, I just remembered season 1 was good, but I just remember it was a lot.
Yeah.
Like, just a lot of gory death.
Right. And
like hard and like people you care about, like that they make you care about, like just die horribly.
Yeah, eviscerated.
Yeah.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat, but it keeps you coming back. This just reminded me of another show. Did you see that Arcane second season's coming out in November?
I did, yeah.
That's the final season.
They're only making 2 seasons?
That's the last season, yeah.
Wow.
They said they're going to do more League of Legends based TV series, but it's this specific storyline.
Well, I'll be fine with it if they tell a full story.
Sure. Honest to God, season 1 was so fucking good. It's one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen.
It could be
It could just be its own thing.
Yeah.
One more season to wrap the entire story. Cool.
Yeah, like, would I like more seasons of it? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like, not everything needs to be 5 seasons, especially if like we wait for it to get, like wear thin.
Yeah. Well, when you wait, once again, like, the thing that's similar between these two shows is like lots of time in between seasons.
Yeah.
I'm glad I just watched it last Christmas, but it came out years ago.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that just reminded me. So like, obviously these shows take a long time to pump out because the animation takes a long time to do.
Mm-hmm. And that's just one part of it.
But I just remember the one scene in season 2 of Invincible where Mark, it's just like a side scene. It doesn't connect to anything other than the story. It's just like a side plot that he goes to, where he goes to like this comic convention and meets this comic book artist.
Oh yeah.
And he talks
to the dog dude.
The dog wizard dude. And he has a conversation with this comic book artist about how he's turning his comic book into an animation.
Right,
and he's
right.
Animation takes a really long time, sometimes 2 to 3 years.
I remember that.
And he's like, and sometimes to make sure that we pump out the product fast enough for fans to like, we'll cut corners. Like like have
Yeah.
characters like
In the
shots
same,
from
like,
different, and it was
yes.
like doing all the animation tricks that showing like, you know, well, we won't show characters' faces when they're speaking, so we don't have to animate their
Right,
mouths,
right,
and it was
right.
like show like making fun of like all the stuff that they do in that season to like save money on the animation
Yeah,
that they don't have to
I
animate.
remember that. It was a pretty smart scene.
It
Yeah.
was just like a very self-aware,
Uh-huh.
like kind of fourth wall breaking scene.
All over the place in every kind of aspect.
Yeah. And then like it does make you start to like look for that stuff and notice it more.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people complained in season 1 that like the animation was
It was like it was good, but it looked like it could be better.
well, it was, the fight scenes were good, but like
Everything else
everything
wasn't.
else was like you could tell that they cut corners to
Very stock standy.
Yeah.
The animation in this season was a lot more fluid throughout.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just funny. It was just like we know this is why we do it. It's either it's good or it's quick. You
Yeah.
can't have both.
And like that's good humor. I know like people I like Seth Rogen. I love Seth Rogen. I know some people have different opinions on him. It seems like the kind of shit like this that he has his hands on are always pretty solid.
I agree,
and things
yeah.
like that he's really good at.
I also
like,
really enjoyed his character this season too.
Yes,
I was
Adam
invested
Neal,
in his
yes.
storyline.
Yeah, dude, so invested. Wanted to see more about him.
Yeah, I was
super
like-
cool. When I thought he was dead, I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!"
Yeah.
So yeah, and he like he you know he executive producer writes for The Boys, this show.
Yeah.
he's He's got his hand in so many things, and they're always like
He knows comic books.
he does know
Yeah.
comic books, and that I respect. A man that knows his comic books and his weed, I respect.
Yeah. It's a Chase Skripek quote.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to say about Invincible season 2?
No, I've about summed up my thoughts
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm glad you've seen it now, so we together, like, just in our own regular conversations, can
Yeah.
talk more about it. But
Yeah. Do you want me to sum up my new nerd shit? Because I have one more, but I'm not going to talk super long about it.
absolutely, you do
Yeah.
both of yours because mine's a few things because I'm
Okay.
going to be covering the direct.
Yeah. So
So-
my last one I wanted to talk about for new nerd shit was a game I've been playing recently. And I'm not going to take a super long time to talk about it because it's a very short game. But it's called Lost Ember. And it's a story-based game where the mechanics are basically you're this spirit in the afterlife that is trapped on the planet, like you haven't passed on, and you meet this other spirit that's like this red orb that flows around you. But the difference with your spirit is that you can change into different animals. You can like possess different animals in the world to get to places. And so you start off as a wolf, and then like you have this other spirit who's like talking to you about like how to get into heaven, basically, like their version of heaven. And like you need to figure out what happened to you in your real life to get into heaven. And so like it's a linear story that you follow. You have to possess different animals as you go through the story to get to like different places. And like there's like different collectibles you can find, and you can like explore around the map and stuff and do all that stuff. But like the mechanic of possessing the animals is very fun and very relaxing and almost feels natural after a while. Like they each have their own different controls, and like once you get good at it, you can just like hop from them like one to the other. Like you could be
Okay.
flying, and then you can like hop into like a fish in the ocean and like swim down the ocean. You can like hop into a buffalo and like glide across the plain. Yeah,
I was going to say guy on a buffalo.
guy on a buffalo.
You know that video?
No,
Okay, I'll show you the video.
Okay.
It's from a video, an old YouTube video.
yeah, but you.
I'm sorry. Go on. I do have a question.
Yes.
Where do you get off? No, I'm just kidding. Is it like a side scroller game or like
No,
how's
it's a
this
3D
look?
animation game.
Okay,
Like you're
okay.
going through it in a 3D environment.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Your default form is a wolf. Like you can always transform back into a wolf, but to transform into other animals, you need to find them.
Okay.
And so like other
You do
animals,
the soul transfer button.
yeah, like specific animals do specific things. Like you could be a hedgehog and like burrow underground. You can, yeah, like be a parrot and fly in the sky, or a hummingbird.
Can you
or,
talk if you're a parrot?
No. That's it. Your character doesn't
They
talk.
went with any bird and they picked parrot and didn't use its ability to speak.
Nope, just its ability to fly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they only have one voice actor because I'm pretty sure it's an indie game.
Okay. Sounds like an indie game.
But the one voice actor that they have for the spirit that he's like your spirit guide. You're both trying to get into heaven, but he like follows you and gives
Aren't
you
we
advice.
all?
and he talks to you, and he's this sweet little British man. He's a very good voice actor. You have the option to turn off his voice and just like go through the game raw and just like not know, like just have to like intuitively figure out where to go. Because like you can play it that way. It's supposed to be very atmospheric, where you just kind of like being one with nature, like flipping between animals. Like there's a very good soundtrack, like good music to it.
I love good music.
There's some good sequences that are like not actiony, but just kind of like fast paced, where like you have to like swim down a river really fast and like avoid hitting into objects, or you have to like fly through the sky and avoid
And
hitting
land in
branches.
like some town and talk to somebody because you're a parrot.
No. So
What?
I won't get into the story, but you're basically in a kind of post-apocalyptic setting. So like everyone,
There's nobody to talk to.
there's no one to talk to because everyone's dead.
That's why the parrot can't speak, because that's how parrots learn how to speak. They hear people.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what the story is about, is figuring out what happened, because like your character has like a role to play in what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mainly a story game, but just very atmospheric, chill vibes, very short. Like I'm pretty much nearly done with it, and I don't have
many
many
hours?
hours into it, like 8 hours maybe.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I like a good brisk game.
Yeah, so if you just want like a chill,
Do you kill
relaxing
things?
game. No, you can't kill things. I know that's your number one. This isn't going to be a game for you. Unless
I've started coming around. It's not my number one rule.
yeah,
With games.
unless you want to knock it out in an afternoon or something, you could probably just
I'm thinking about getting that. Did you see that Shire game they're coming out with? It's like Animal Crossing, but you're a hobbit in the Shire.
No.
I'm totally gonna get that.
For what? Is it for the Switch?
Everything, but yeah, it's on Switch. It was one of they showed a preview for it today at the Direct, but
I'm surprised they didn't come up with that sooner.
same. It's coming out this holiday season, and you bet your ass. And that is not a typical game for me. So I'm willing to play games that aren't.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill and everything.
But yeah, this game it's low commitment in that like you don't have to invest like Elden Ring amounts of time into it.
Yeah, some days I just need that. Some days I just need that.
You don't have to put 300 hours into it. You could knock it out in a day if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Not even, probably.
That's how, once I finally start playing Hellblade 2, I know it's not a long game. So if I just play it for a day, which I should have did today for my birthday, but I didn't, I'll get through it in a fucking day.
Yeah.
And I like that in games.
Yeah, it's just something like you get your conclusion to the story quick. Like you don't have to spend a good portion of your life getting there.
Yeah. I like that. Maybe I will check. What's it called again?
Lost Ember.
Lost Ember.
Yeah.
I'm at least going to take a look at this.
Yeah, take a look at it. If anything but for the vibes itself. It's a very vibey game.
I might. I was feeling bad. Not like super bad. I wasn't like sitting in a corner like sad about it or anything. But like
Right.
a lot of the times you'll come back on this show and be like, I watched this thing you talked about, or I played this thing you talked about. And I'm just like, man, I never really go and do or play any of the things he recommended. Not because I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, I feel like
It's my autism.
I just play weird games. Yeah. I just play games that, like,
Yeah, I just play whatever I'm
they're
feeling
not like
too.
a mainstream appeal.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just hipster like that, you
You
know.
so are. You so are.
I'm just on the cutting edge,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm contrarian.
You jerk off to like indie directs and things like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I've been waiting all week for these.
Got my Polaroid.
Yeah. That's cool, though. So, like I said, Lost Ember, I'll definitely check it out. And when
Yeah.
I'm re-listening to this when I'm editing tomorrow, that's what's going to remind me, and I'm going to go,
Sure.
gotta go check that out.
It's also a VR game.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So is that all your
That's
new
all
nerd
my
shit?
new nerd shit, yeah.
Okay. Then I really want to talk to you about some of the things that got announced at this Direct today.
I'm waiting to hear about it.
But I'm going to ask Kaylee, could you do me a favor? In that room to your left, my iPad is on the workout bench. Could you bring it in here? I want to show you some of these trailers. I'll obviously cut, except the video version that you can catch on our Patreon, possibly YouTube, just to get the word out.
That's
But,
what you guys get.
yeah, but it'll show
to see
you
me
reacting to these trailers.
You get
Yeah,
to learn that I'm a vapor.
a vapist.
A vapist, yeah. I'm somewhat of a vapist myself.
And I'm not. See, guys, I'm clean. I don't even have anything.
Yeah, he's not a smoker.
I'm sitting here dying.
He's a clean kid.
I'm
He's
a good
kid.
I'm a good 32-year-old kid. Is it not sitting in there? Is it just on like the workout bench, right? No? Fuck, where'd it go? Oh no, I'm sorry. I set you on an impossible task.
You set her up to fail.
So that was not where I told her to look.
Oh,
That one's
so
on
you
me.
did set her up to fail.
I did. And honestly, I
You
thought
son
it was
of a
I thought it was
bitch.
sitting like this too. So like it was covered. So like he had a lot of obstacles. I'm so sorry. Next time if I send you anything like that, it'll be a lot easier. Okay. So the Nintendo Direct drops today. And there were a few, almost the whole show was I as I point my Switch at you, was I like, oh, wow, this is awesome. These look pretty fun. There were some notable ones that I wanted to bring up and talk about today that I'm really excited about. So I don't really have new nerd shit this week because all I've been doing since the last podcast is playing Paper Mario, the first one.
Yeah.
Super Paper Mario and Mario Odyssey. So I've been playing just Mario games.
Mm-hmm. Back to the classics.
I got nothing more to say. Not too much. Like Paper Mario 1, I can tell that this is the first version of the game that I lost my mind to.
Yeah.
Still having fun. They're all games I'm really enjoying, but I don't have much more to say about them. So this kind of gets me into the first thing that got announced today at the Direct. Have you ever played the Mario and Luigi games, like the Superstar Saga on the Game Boy, or there's one on the DS that I had that I played a lot as a kid?
No.
Partners in Crime. It's basically a Mario and Luigi, that RPG mechanism of fighting, much like in Paper Mario and shit, type of game series. It started on the Game Boy Advance. You can actually play it on the Game Boy Advance on the Switch right now, the first one. So you control both Mario and Luigi, and you get into like turn-based battles, and it's really fun because like you play as both of them on the overworld. A makes Mario jump, B makes Luigi jump. Like they can each do different things in the overworld, like a Mario game, like in Paper Mario. And then you get into like cool little battles where like you also control them to like do certain sweet attacks. And you'll see examples of this. What I'm getting at is they announced a new one today, that they're making a new one for the Switch that's coming out later
what's
this
it
year.
called?
It is called Mario and Luigi Brothership is the title. And this is kind of significant because the last game in this series came out a long time ago, like maybe 9 years, and the company that made them, like it was Nintendo licensed, but like a different company made those games specifically.
Yeah.
They're like not around anymore. So people didn't even think another one was being made. And then all of a sudden they kicked today's Direct off. Well, I'm in my Mario / Mario RPG phase.
So it was like fate.
It was like fate. And the trailer was pretty good. So I'm going to show you the first trailer of that, and then we'll talk about it for a minute. I made a special folder in my YouTube called Nerd Shit, where I put things that I want to show you. Now, here's what's going to be tricky, Braden. The room that we're in, the very room that we're in right now, has fucking dog shit Wi-Fi. Absolute dog shit Wi-Fi. So YouTube is really, really, really struggling right now. So what did you think of that? For somebody who's never played any of the series.
It looked like an interesting platformer.
It's fun.
RPG platformer?
RPG platformer.
Because some of the
Kinda
battles
similar.
didn't even look turn-based. Some of them looked like...
Yeah.
I guess they were turn-based, but just like... I guess like that dynamic turn-based.
Yeah.
Like you still have to be doing shit.
Yeah. And it kind of mixes that. It does normal turn-based with like dynamic, you know.
It looks good. It looks like a
excited.
classic Mario and Luigi game.
Yeah. Just amplified to the Switch. Like the last one that was made was, I'm almost certain, was on the 3DS or DS.
Yeah.
So like it's been a while, and to jump straight into the Switch era, it just looks like very colorful, very fun. I love the battle style. You know, I've been losing my shit about Paper Mario, and this is just a different kind of Paper Mario type of Mario game.
Right. It seems even more like you have to work together.
Mm-hmm. And you do, and I totally recommend for you, if you get a chance, to maybe see if you can try to play one of the original ones.
I will.
Because it gives you an idea. This one comes out sometime, I think October or November. Like every game that got announced today is coming out in this next year or like beginning of 2025.
Right.
So
they're already pretty much done.
that's the thing about this Direct. Like there were so many games that I didn't even know anything about or were being made that they just dropped at this. And then they're like, oh yeah, it's coming out in a couple months. And you're like, holy fuck, that's crazy, Nintendo.
They're good at
They keep
information
that shit-
control.
Yes,
They
yes
have
they
no
do.
leakers in their ranks.
Yeah. No.
'Cause they will be killed.
By the Yakuza, I've heard.
Yep.
Yeah, Nintendo. If you don't think Nintendo has fucking
Oh, they have Yakuza connections.
They sure do.
Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, yes, they do. If you think they don't, they definitely do.
Nintendo.
Nintendo. Yakuza.
So I think I'm going to do this in order of my excitement level for the games that I wanted to talk about today. Because there was a way Nintendo put it in an order, but I'm going to jump around. And I'm going to talk about a couple that aren't trailers that we need to watch. But they announced a new Super Mario Party Jamboree. I'm not a big Mario Party guy, but this Mario Party
I like Mario Party more than Mario Kart. That might be a controversial take, but I do.
I think that you're not alone with people that are like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Spartans, man. They got each other.
Yeah. Few against the many.
A few against the many. But... That's funny.
Yeah.
This new one looks pretty good. I don't play it, but like another big title, it has a pretty big following, the Mario Party games.
Yeah.
They keep
certainly.
it under wraps, and boom, this is coming out.
People don't like video games like Mario Party.
Absolutely, they do. And people like me who do like video games really don't like Mario Party, but that's a whole nother... We don't need to go down that train. So that was an announcement that got made today. They're making it's a Funko Pop video game.
Oh.
So it's based on like...
Really ramping up the marketing.
Well, you can pick like all these different characters. Like you can play as one of like all the Pops. Like He-Man, fucking... Optimus Prime, fucking Jurassic Park dinosaur. Like it had like all the options, but like also all the worlds. And it was just like you can pick one of them and play crazy missions and levels based on all the things that Pop has like the right to. I'll tell you what, it looks like a dumb game that I might never buy,
Who
but it
owns
also looks
Funko
like
Pop?
I have no idea.
I thought it was...
Yakuza.
Yeah. The Yakuza own everything?
Yeah. No, I have no idea. But it looked like if I heard it had good reviews, it looked like a fun little game. Especially like now that I have a kid, like that looks like a great game for a kid to just fucking lose their mind on.
Oh yeah.
For something that I would typically call stupid, I thought it was pretty cool. Especially because
Seems
I like
there's
Funko
infinite
Pops.
entertainment possibilities.
Oh my god, infinite.
You just get sucked in.
And like if you make DLC for that, you can just be like, here's new Pop figures, here's their worlds, mix and match as you please.
It's an infinite money machine, and then
So-
people are gonna want to buy more Funko Pops.
I thought that for sure. And I'm sure they find a way to like tie it in. If you own a Funko Pop, you can probably like fucking use its code.
Oh yeah, like Webkins.
Sure. Yeah, like Webkins.
It's gonna be like adult Webkins.
Or the Spyro Skylanders thing. Like, yeah, something like that. So I thought that was neat too. I do need to look at some of the other announcements, but I'm pretty sure that was two of like the side ones that I want to talk about. Another big one, and I don't even know if you need to watch the trailer for it. If you want to, we can. But they finally put something out involving Metroid Prime 4. I think it's called Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
It's been a long time coming.
The whole Switch life cycle, people have been like, when is that coming? And they said like, we are working on it, but there's been nothing. Finally a trailer and a release date. Well, not a release date, a release time, 2025. Early 2025 it said. But like it was something, and it was a dope looking trailer. And finally, like, you played Metroid Prime, one of them. Any of them?
At least one of them.
Yeah. Imagine that, but like on modern technology. Well, as modern technology as the Switch.
Be fun.
Yeah, I think so. And it looked pretty cool. So like, I don't know. You can pull the trailer up if you want to. It's up to you.
Metroid Prime 4.
Metroid Prime 4. The next one that I talk about, you definitely have to watch the trailer and like the thing that came with it. Because I'm just so jonesing to talk about this. The possibilities with this. So we just watched the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond trailer. Braden, what did you think?
Looked really good.
Looked fucking sick, man. Yeah. Even more now that I watched it again. That looks awesome. It's modern Metroid Prime.
Yep. The classic game mixed with modern gaming.
Yeah. Looks like Doom. Like it really reminded me of like Doom gameplay.
I did get a Doom vibe.
Yeah, but it's Metroid, and I fucking dig that, dude. Yeah. I cannot wait.
And the music is great.
The music is great, always great. Just from playing the Metroid Prime remake that they put out last year on the Switch, and that was still like close to GameCube-y. Like it was just a remake. They didn't like redo it. I'm excited. I'm stoked for like a complete new Metroid Prime game because I lost my shit to that last one.
I wonder what took them so long.
I wish I knew, dude. Forever. Because, I mean, Metroid Prime 3 came out. I mean, fuck, dude. I'm almost certain I was, like, still in high school.
Yeah.
So
It
like
was over a decade ago.
forever ago, multiple consoles of Nintendo. I think it's on the Wii, so it just missed the Wii U and just about missed the Switch. And here's my guess: if it's not coming out till 2025, and I guarantee you by fucking April of 2025, the successor to the Switch will be out. I guarantee you they drop it on whatever that is too. Get some price points up. Just
That
a
would be
theory,
smart.
but I don't know. I'm stoked. I can't wait to play it. I'm a big Metroid fan. Yeah.
Well, God, that must have been a fun thing to watch on your birthday.
That was a fun thing to see. And that's how they wrapped up the show. That was their final announcement. And like the whole thing through, I was like, oh, hell yeah, this is good. So I knew they were going to end, because the middle thing is what I'm going to end on. The first thing was that Mario game. I was like, the third game that they announced to end this has to be big. Has to be Metroid Prime 4. And when it was, I was like, there it fucking is. So one more little special shout out game that I'm looking forward to. But they're doing a Dragon Quest 3 HD,
Ooh.
but 2D remake. So it's like the original game, but like
better graphics.
HD 2D graphics.
Nice.
Yeah, and it looked pretty sick. And apparently the third one is the first, like chronologically. And so sometime at the beginning of next year, they're doing a 1 and 2 HD 2D.
It's great. I love the
remake.
Dragon Quest games.
Yeah, and I haven't really played. I played the old ones when I was really young, so I'm excited to go back on like an updated version of the original ones.
Yeah.
Because I want to play the newest one. I think it's 11 that came out a couple of years ago. I want to try. You know me, I've been getting into the turn-based RPG scene a lot, and I just think I should play the originals.
And they have great stories along with them.
Mm-hmm. And mixed with like remastered graphics, remastered look.
And a lot to do in those games.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they're some of the trendsetters of JRPGs are long as fuck.
Yeah, that was one of my first games I played where I kept playing through the story and I'm like, we got to be getting close to the end here. And I'm like, nope, we're not even halfway through the story.
Yeah. When they say quest, they fucking mean it. So I'm looking forward to getting the 3, and I guess 1 and 2 I think are going to be a package deal. So they announced those today, and I thought that was a fun little. Because that's the thing, even at this direct, there were some like games. You know how these things go. There's games that only certain people are ever going to touch.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of like little big moments, and that was certainly one of them. But the biggest moment that I found was something I was not expecting at all, but was super stoked about. And I might have talked about this with you. I might not have talked about this with anyone. I might have just thought it. I don't know. So there's a new Zelda game coming out in September. Did you see this already?
I heard that I didn't see anything like details about it. I heard there was new one though.
So just announced this morning, in the same art style as the Link's Awakening remake that they did on the Switch. Do you remember that? Same art style, same like that. And it's a game where you play as Princess Zelda, and Link gets like lost at the beginning of it.
Ooh.
And you play as Zelda.
Role reversal.
Interesting game mechanics, which luckily they go into in the video that after the trailer that will explain. But I just said not that long ago to somebody, I was like, I think they should do some game that's the Legend of Zelda that kind of ties all the games into one, but it wraps up with you playing as Zelda to kind of wrap to make it the Legend of Zelda. This isn't that, but you're still playing as Zelda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's probably not going to do anything big
Finally
to the Lord.
put to rest that the story is about Zelda.
Right. But
Even though everyone thinks that Link's name is Zelda.
So that's a big thing. But when I saw this trailer, like, I think some people, I don't know if anybody was like put off by like, oh, a Zelda game where you don't play as Link. But I was instantly like, let's fucking go. This looks so good. And then they showed stuff about it, and I was like, this is going to be fun. So I do want you to pull that up. I think it's called, I could be wrong, Legend of Zelda. Wah, bitch, whine and moan. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Echoes of Mist or something? Echoes
Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom. And there's like a 4-minute something video that's the trailer mixed with a guy talking about what you want, because the trailer doesn't really tell you much. It's what he tells you. So I see the Zelda trailer, Echoes of, what was it again?
Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom. Blew my fucking mind, dude.
It looked really good.
It looks really good.
Like, it looked good just from, like, the initial...
The concept of it, yeah.
Concept, but then when they actually explained in depth, like, some of the game mechanics, it seemed really interesting.
It seems really fun. I think it, like, borrows a lot of tropes from a lot of modern, like, those kind of Minecraft-y type of game, but did it in a fun way, for me specifically, because I don't like Minecraft.
Yeah, where, like, every play experience is different. You can choose different echoes to fit different situations, and like I guess they
like
work
a tamed
in
down
ways.
version of how Baldur's Gate kind of is.
Yeah,
where like everybody's player experience is different by how they play, on just like a more kid scale. Yeah,
very cool.
Very cool mechanics. So, to those just listening, I mean, I'll explain a little bit more about this one. So, it's a Zelda game where Zelda takes over because Link gets captured and you get this magical rod that lets you, like, copy items and things that you see to use in, like, the world to solve puzzles and, like, fight bad guys and shit.
Yeah, apparently eventually you can also copy enemy monsters.
And they fight with you and do shit for you.
Which I love games where you can make enemies into allies.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. Ooh. What was that look for?
Just checking reactions, the audience reactions.
Oh, okay. We feel you, dude. Yeah, I love the art style of it's in the same art style as Link's Awakening, and I can't believe it's just coming out in a couple months. I'm gonna lose myself to that fucking game, and it looks so fun.
Isn't it kind of nice that they waited to tell you now when you don't have to wait long?
Yes.
Rather than Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yes.
Where they just tug you along.
And
they,
four.
They
and four.
Tug your balls along.
Currently with 4, yeah.
For years and years, getting your hopes up, edging you.
Zelda does that too sometimes. But it is nice when they throw little things like this. Because, I mean, before Breath of the Wild came out, that was like a 6-year, like, where the fuck is this game? So, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to play that. I think the idea of playing as Zelda instead of Link is really cool. I love when the guy even says, like, in a Hyrule without Link, Zelda has to step up. And it's like, and she, in her own way, too. They didn't just give Zelda a sword and she went and did shit. It's like, she's
always been a magic user.
Yeah. So, I'm so excited they're doing this, and I can't wait. And that was the big thing from the direct. There were probably bigger things for other people. That was the one that I didn't see coming, and I was pleasantly surprised. And I'm gonna play it as soon as I can.
Yeah, sounds like there's a lot of curveballs.
Mm-hmm. And like that video didn't even get into like what are the dungeon mechanics? Like, are there like what is the setup? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I feel like that was still a very bare bones explanation of what the game was.
But even with bare bones, interesting. Yeah. I'm interested.
Just explain like the main mechanic, but that's it. Like we still don't know what the rest of the game's gonna be like.
Yeah. Should be exciting. That's half the fun in these games, the real adventure that they feel like they're putting you on.
Yeah.
And I'm down with playing as Zelda. Let's see what happens.
Let's do it.
Let's get a whole... I mean, maybe we can go somewhere with this. Who knows? So, yeah. That was the Nintendo Direct for me today. There was a couple other little ones, like Hello Kitty Island Adventure got announced.
Yeah, I knew you were
really looking
forward
to that one, yeah. You know me, dude. I'm a big Hello Kitty. Gotcha. I think they say that.
Yeah.
Totoga.
Probably.
So, I'm excited for that. I'm sure there's other little things like that. Like things like that they announced today that were cool. So, there's a bunch of new JRPGs. If you hear about them and you think they look cool, look into them yourself. I'm not talking about them here.
Fine, I will.
I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on.
To the main course.
We have 2 movies to talk about.
Yeah, we got to transition.
We do have to transition. But before that...
Shit talk?
We have a message from our sponsors.
Right.
Because I have to get a drink. You want a drink?
Yeah, I would love a drink, yeah. Yep. So this podcast is sponsored by Pepsi Cola. Pepsi Cola, the only drink that we will drink ever. It's the best drink, definitely the best of the soft drinks, but I think it's probably better than water. And I refuse to literally drink anything else but PepsiCo. Once again, PepsiCo, the drink of the future. PepsiCo, the drink of the past. PepsiCo, the drink of the now. Jace, you got my Coca-Cola ready? You got my Coca-Cola ready? PepsiCo.
Sorry, dude. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the cups. And I was like, wonder how I can keep it going. And then those 2 ideas make it seem like I was just gone and trying to be gone for a while. I really was like, where are the cups?
It's okay. I got our sponsor segment out by myself.
I knew you could handle it, so I left it to you. Okay, so like we said up front, we watched 2 shitty movies, and we're going to talk to you guys about them. I want to do one at a time, but I'm sure there's going to be some overlap.
Yeah. So, do you want to do it in chronological order?
I think. What do you mean in chronological order?
Like chronological order from when we watched them, and when they came out? I
thought you might have meant like how one of these movies takes place in 2003.
Right. No, I haven't gotten into the time jokes yet.
Good. Yeah, I think we'll start with Morbius and then do Madam Web.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I feel like I gave enough of my recent time to Madam Web.
Yeah, certainly did.
I don't want to give it any more yet. I'm not ready for it.
It's an hour and 50 minutes. You'll never get back.
I'll never, ever get back on my 32nd goddamn birthday. Okay, so Morbius. Not like it's any better.
It is Morbin time, folks.
Yeah. Believe everything you've heard about this movie.
Yes. Everything was true. No one was lying about it. It's not good.
It is. It's so... Braden, no. Hold on. Explain the plot.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the story? All right.
As best as you can.
So the story
is tough.
So smash cut to him in Costa Rica. Morbius, Dr. Michael Morbin. Smash cut to him in the Amazon. Opening scene. Why is he here? He's a cripple. He's walking on 2 crutches. What's going on? All of a sudden, bunch of bats fly at him. Okay. Smash cut. 20 years earlier. We're in Greece now.
Is that where they're at?
Yeah, they're in Greece. They are in Greece. They're Greek. That's the Spartans.
Yeah, I thought they were just saying that. I thought they were just using the Spartans as an analogy.
No, we're in Greece. It's Dr. Michael Morbin and his friend Matt Smith, the baby. They are both terminally ill with Parkinson's or cerebral palsy. We didn't really look it up.
We narrowed it down on cerebral palsy.
Yeah, we think it's cerebral palsy, but we're not sure.
Not either.
Is cerebral? Well, so they mentioned they didn't really specify what disease they had. Okay, so Kaylee said it's just a rare blood disease.
Classic that no good writers were involved in.
Yeah, a rare blood disease that also looks like like what Walter White's son has.
That mix between Parkinson's and cerebral palsy.
Yeah, he can't walk well is basically what we're getting at. Neither of them can, and they both just mentioned that they feel like shit all the time. Little boys. They're little boys. All right, we're in Greece. They're little boys.
Right.
We're in Greece. They're little boys.
You said that.
Matt Smith's little boy almost dies. And Dr. Michael Morbius fixes it with a screw. The main ward guy is like,
"Hey, what it was? It was like a spring.
It was like a spring. It was like a spring. Yeah, he like fixes his health machine with a spring. The health machine that stops the rare blood disorder from taking this child's life. But he fixes it. He fixes it, and then the guy, like the head terminally ill cancer kid guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, you're smarter than the rest of these kids."
If this is how he explains this movie, I can't wait to hear him explain Madam
He's like,
Web.
"Hey, you're smarter than the rest of these kids, so I'm going to get you out of here. I'm going to get you a scholarship to the best universities in the world where you can truly grow your talents as Dr. Michael Morbius." And so he like
future Dr. Michael
Morbius. He's still a little Greek boy at this time. But he goes up to his boy Matt Smith and he's like, "Hey, sorry, dude, I'm getting out of here." But Milo. His name is Milo. He says, "I'll always love you." He calls him a different name at one point.
He does call him a different name at one point.
He doesn't. I don't know what that was. That name never comes up again. It's like
because I remember I was like,
it's like Norman.
Is his name not Milo? Yeah. And then he's Milo the rest of the movie.
It's
and
like
I was
Norman or Theobald or something. I don't know.
Somewhere between Norman and Theobald.
Yeah, it was something. It was some other name. It never pops up again. It only happens that one time. Maybe it was like a different script or something at that point. They just forgot it. I don't know. Anyways, he's like, "I'm sorry, I have to leave, but like you'll always be in my we'll always be like blood brothers, like rare blood brothers." Anyways,
Indian brothers.
Yeah, Matt Smith's character gets beat up. That's kind of just like a short scene. And then anyways, like smash cut to present day. He's a famous doctor. He's created all these kind of things to try and help rare blood diseases like artificial blood, but none of it works on him until finally he narrows it down that it's like vampire bats are the cure. I'm sure they explained it with some kind of weird movie science talk.
I think it was mentioned at the beginning part a little with the
I was
Amazon
not paying
scene.
attention to it.
None of us were.
None of us were.
We were all still kind of...
It was generic science movie, superhero mumbo jumbo. But vampire bats are the cure. And so he synthesizes it with Bix Colleen from Andor, who plays Dr. Maureen?
Dude, her name could be Phyllis. I have no idea.
Who is like his pseudo lover, but also the woman who's like trying to save his life. But they're working on this cure together from vampire bats. And
Yes.
smash cut to on a boat. They're on a boat
Yep.
off of like the New York coastline, I think, with just 8 other guys who are apparently just the shittiest guys ever because the movie tells us that. We don't see it. They're just normal guys. They're mercenaries.
They're mercenaries.
So they're probably bad dudes. Anyways, not important.
Yeah,
They're on the
movie
ship with
even
the
tells
other
you they're not
dudes,
important.
Bix Colleen, Morbius. He injects himself with the vampire bat serum. Lo and behold, becomes a vampire. Murders everyone except Bix Colleen on the ship, but again, we're told not to care about them because they're like nothing.
One
Like,
of them was kind of sexist,
One of them was kind of sexist to
so they can all just
to
fucking
Bix.
die.
Yeah, so like it's like they all were just brutally murdered and exsanguinated, which
Yeah.
means that you lose all your blood because he sucks their blood.
Which the movie told us as
The
well.
movie told us that as well.
They tried to be funny about it. They were like, I looked it up, and it's just like,
We see
cool.
him like bite people, but we don't see him actually like sucking blood. He's not
No.
like
They like kind of show it at the end a little, but anytime that anybody's getting like ripped apart or ripped into, the camera
Yeah.
always finds a way to sort of get out of there.
yeah. But anyways, it was kind of like that. I think you should leave sketch where like they're like nothing. They don't even matter. Like there's no records of him or anything because they are mercenaries. So
Yeah.
like it's fine that he killed them. He's still the protagonist, and you still want to root for him,
I guess.
even though it's like Jared Leto doing like
Even if it's not Jared
Oh.
Leto, it's somebody that we don't really know.
we don't really
They
know.
don't let us get to know the characters. He tries to be funny at times, and you're like, is he funny? He's been rather serious this whole movie. Is he also funny now?
He tries
Has he
to
always
make like
been funny?
He tries to make like dry humor jokes, but it doesn't come out like that. Like maybe he was trying to do like a Doctor Strange kind of
Kind
humor.
of like forced dry humor, which
Yeah.
is weird.
Like I concluded Jared Leto just can't do comedy well. Like he just doesn't have the delivery right. I think it's just the delivery. Just the way he says it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't land.
Yeah.
But anyways, he kills all the mercenary dudes and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm a monster." Smash cut to Matt Smith. He's still friends with him. He's still kept up with him, but he's still dying of
Milo.
of this rare blood disease. Anyways, other stuff happens. They end up in his lab.
Longest living dying guys I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, they end up back in his lab. He sees like, "Oh, I'm a monster." He gives him like this artificial blood to like keep him go. Matt Smith gives Morbius this artificial blood to keep him going, and he's just like, "You cured it. Like you're walking. Like you're fine." And he's like, "No, it's a curse. Like you can't take it." And Matt Smith's like, "Well, fuck you.
I'm taking it."
I'm taking it because I'm dying."
And he just does.
And he just does. We don't find out until later. Like they try to do like a mystery kind of thing, even though it's kind of obvious
Yep.
that's what happened.
Right away. It doesn't even go on
Yeah.
long enough to be...
Because they don't
Why'd
show.
you even make it a mystery?
We don't see him become like Matt Smith become a vampire and like take the serum. Like I don't even know if we see in the movie that he takes the serum.
I don't think we did.
He just eventually shows up as a vampire. Like another person was like an innocent person was killed because again those are 8 mercenaries were told not to care about. Like it's fine that he killed them.
They're fine. The cops even tell him it's fine.
The cops even tell him he's fine. They're not going to charge
We're
him
more
for the 8 guys
concerned about
killed.
this bitch that he didn't kill, that they think he killed.
That they think he killed because another like a nurse at a hospital who was like a single mother of 2 was killed in the exact same way. And like you're led to believe that it's Morbius even though they don't show who it was that killed her, so obviously it's not Morbius.
It also cuts to him being somewhere else completely, so you're also led to think as the viewer, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
But the people in the movie have to catch up to us.
Right. So we're already aware that it's probably Matt Smith because he's like one of the only characters in this movie that has significant lines. That's like close to Morbius, and the trailer showed that he's a bad guy anyways.
Right.
But yeah, Matt Smith was the one who killed her. He took the serum and became
Milo.
Milo. He took the serum and became a vampire too, but the difference with him is that he's psycho and he wants to kill people and he doesn't want to drink artificial blood.
And Braden, I think we've pinpointed. We're not sure. This is a hypothesis, but we think it's because he's only drank people blood. Is why he's always like a crazy monster evil guy.
Right.
He wasn't that bad before he turned into a vampire.
Right. That was one of my issues with it, was that they didn't really do a good enough job establishing that he was a villain. They kind of just like do offhanded remarks of like, oh, Matt Smith has a Russian bodyguard. And they're like, how'd you get a Russian bodyguard? And he's like, oh, I won a game of cards in an impossible way. So I guess they work for him now?
Sure.
Because he won a game of cards? I feel like if they were Russian gangsters, they would just kill him because they would assume he's cheating. Anyways, not important. But like that was one of the things where it's like, oh, maybe he's like a bad guy because he kind of like runs on the other side of the law.
Yeah.
Even though like he's rich somehow.
Yeah, he's rich.
Like, he's wealthy. They don't explain why. Apparently he's also a genius.
Yeah.
But in a different way.
I don't fucking
But they
know.
don't show, like, we just find this out as he's an adult.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what he does, but you're right, he was wealthy.
You couldn't say what he does, but he's, you know, he mentions that he's wealthy. We really don't know anything about him besides that, but now all of a sudden he's, like, bad because Morbius told him, like, dude, don't make yourself...
No, this shit is not good.
Yeah, he's like, don't make yourself a vampire, so he's like, all right, I'm going
to make myself a vampire, and, buddy, I'm going to fucking kill you because I hate you now.
That's basically...
I hate you now.
His motivation.
Yeah. And Morbius, he's been drinking fucking synthetic blood. Which is, it's no longer having the same effect throughout the movie. It's getting weaker and weaker on, but that's why he's not going crazy. We assume. Because he's not drinking people blood, where Milo drank a lot of people blood.
Yeah, because the one time he drank people blood was when he killed those 8 mercenaries, and he went crazy.
He knocked out Binks because she hit her head. She hit her head so hard that didn't look all that hard at all, but not only did it knock her out, but she was on a ventilator for a couple days.
Yeah, she's like messed up.
I don't fucking know. That whole portion could have not happened.
Oh, yeah.
Because she just gets out and is back in the movie.
Didn't need to happen.
Did not need to happen.
Yeah.
I digress. Continue.
So anyways, yeah, Matt Smith is like, I'm going to make Morbius see who he is, see that he's one of us, and he needs to drink red blood and not blue blood, because like the artificial blood is blue. So they said, like, you going to drink the blue or you going to drink the red? He's like, he needs to drink the red. It's like kind of...
Well said.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, like, they fight once, and it's like a CGI speedster fight, basically.
Yeah.
Nothing we haven't really seen before, except that they like, look like vampires.
It has a fun little aesthetic to it.
It does.
If anything, I'll give this movie, it had fun aesthetic looks.
Yeah.
That they could have done more with.
They could have done way more with it. Yeah. But yeah, they fight. Eventually, more stuff happens. I think the one caretaker dies. He's killed by Matt Smith.
Yep. They have a falling out.
Yep.
He lives just long enough to tell Morbius.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Milo is crazy.
Yeah. Which Morbius knew at this point.
He sure did.
Yeah. Anyways, he dies. Didn't really matter. He wasn't that important.
He wasn't, like, not important. Like, a mercenary's not important.
Right. Like we're supposed to care about him, but we don't.
We don't care about anybody.
No, we don't care about anyone. That's why I said, like,
the whole tone, with everything Braden's describing to you, think of an atmosphere that is just... I don't even know how to describe. The look I'm making is how I'm trying to describe.
Yeah.
This boring...
Blank.
We talked about the lighting. This movie is blue or yellow hues. The
lighting and color saturation.
It's always dark.
Bothered me so much. Yeah. I don't know if this was your TV or if this was the movie, but I'm pretty sure it was the movie because TV doesn't do this with any other movie. There was many times throughout like the second half of the movie where characters literally looked like they had Simpsons yellow skin. Like they looked like the Simpsons.
Braden even said that about this black dude on the screen a couple times.
He had a yellow hue to him.
Too. So that's how yellow we're talking.
That's how yellow. Everyone was yellow. And I'm like, that can't be intentional, right? There's no way it's intentional that they're making everyone look like this sickly, like, jaundiced yellow.
When it's any other time in the movie, blue or, like, this dark...
Every other time in the movie...
Twilight
this is such
vibe.
Dark movie. If it's not yellow, it's blue or black. Dark blue or black.
There are rooms that make no sense to why the lights are off.
No.
And the lights are off.
A hospital?
There's a whole scene where he's like inventing the serum, and they're just in the dark, and it's
Yeah.
like, dude,
Can
you'd
you
have the
see?
fucking lights on.
You're doing science. You're
he ain't a
measuring
vampire
shit.
yet. He can't see in the dark, and neither can you.
But they do establish that he can
Binks.
walk in the sunlight.
Did I say Binks earlier?
Yeah, you did. That's why I said Jar Jar.
Okay, I got it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, where were we?
Yeah, like I guess I'll skip ahead to where
You
he
can.
Yeah, he kidnaps Binks.
Milo kidnaps Binks.
Milo kidnaps Bix.
Binks. Like a razor.
Yeah, and like Morbius hears them through echolocation. They can do echolocation and fly and stuff like bats.
Yeah, we didn't really explain the superpowers, but just think like bats.
He's
But not like Batman.
He's Batman.
He's a
but not-
vampire, but also just a
He's
bat.
Batman
He's a
if-
vampire bat. Batman. Man-bat.
He's Batman if Batman was Batman like Spider-Man was Spider-Man.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Go on.
Anyways, Bix is kidnapped by Milo, and like he hears, like Morbius hears her through echolocation, like, oh, like help me, like you need to come help me, and like, boom, he goes to help her. Milo kills Bix somehow, or he like mortally wounds her.
Yeah. She's
forget how.
dying anyway. I don't really know if it
forget how
shows
he
us.
did it.
I don't really know if it shows us.
Yeah, but she's like dying, and Morbius shows up, and he's like, "Oh my god, I love you," or he didn't say "I love you."
They had already kissed before this.
Yeah.
There was a sorry, we skipped that.
There's a romance.
Some of the shit, yeah, they kiss.
He cares about her, I guess.
Whatever. Don't worry about it.
But he's like, like this entire time since like the mercenaries, he hasn't drank human blood, and so she's like you have. I don't even know. She gives him permission.
She does. She tells him. She's like, "Drink my blood. Like, at least make it worth something." I think she tells
Yeah,
him.
at least make it worth something. So he drinks her blood as she's dying, and that like superpowers, because that's how he gets his superpowers. He has to keep drinking blood to like gain his superpowers back, or else like his disease will come back.
Yeah, cerebral palsy kicks
His cerebral
in
palsy
awful
kicks
quick.
in. Yeah. So he drinks her blood, and then like that powers. That's like his power. He drops a bit of his blood into her mouth first,
Yes.
and then he drinks her blood.
Yes, he does.
And then he goes to fight Matt Smith. It's a big,
Same as we said earlier.
same as the before, like a speedster fight, basically, where they're like kind of clawing at each other. They don't do many vampire things besides be really fast and kind of swipe at each other with their claws.
Yeah,
But like they're not. I don't know. I guess they fly too.
it's fine.
It doesn't matter.
It's time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a fight scene.
Yeah, but like Morbius, I guess earlier he like came up with
Oh yeah.
he came up with the cure for both of them. He made 2 vials that would like cure them of their curse, but it would also like bring their disease back. And I guess like it's like a rebound effect, or like if their disease comes back after having been gone for so long, it like kills them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, he knows that this is gonna kill him. Anyways, he stabs Matt Smith with it,
Kills him.
kills him.
That's it.
Yep, he's dead. That's it with Milo. And then he just doesn't inject himself with it. He doesn't even really mention it, I don't think.
Yeah, they don't really. They didn't even tell us there were 2. He could have just. Yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned that there's 2 in that one scene, and then they never bring it up again.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even have like a dilemma of like, I'm gonna stay living.
I'm gonna keep wanting human blood now.
Yeah,
And also, don't forget, right before the credits roll, the girl Bix, she wakes back up. She's
Yeah.
a vampire now too, I guess. So he can turn people into vampires.
yeah. Bix wakes back up.
real quick.
It was sequel bait because it was at the very, very end of the movie, so we're never gonna see that. I don't know of anyone who wants to see it.
Yeah, definitely not gonna see it.
Yeah. There was, I guess, more sequel bait in the post credits.
Yeah, there was.
But we're not getting that.
No. So let's not even waste our time with it.
But yeah, that
What a
was
fucking movie.
Morbius. I felt nothing.
I felt nothing as well, and that's where I stand with this one. Is like, I didn't have a bad time. I didn't have a good time.
Yeah.
I just had a time
Yes.
that was, we talked and made jokes, so that made it a little better. But like,
It was boring.
it was just a movie.
It was very boring. I didn't care about any of the characters, but it wasn't bad enough to where I was annoyed by it or like it's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
No, it just exists. And
It's just
isn't
very
good.
much a la like the early, like the mid early 2000s superhero movies,
but like
before-
a bad one.
but like a bad one. Yeah.
Yeah.
before
Still
they
bad.
figured out the formula.
Here's what I think about this movie. So you had asked me at one point, do I think there's a good movie in there?
Yes.
Not that they've made, not that they didn't cut this, they didn't cut a better movie out of this.
No.
But hear me out. I think there's a story somewhere in there that could work as like the B story in a Spider-Man movie per se. Let's just say where Spider-Man's got his own story. This is the Morbius story before they eventually have their fight. That's what this movie felt like. It felt like half a movie.
I think if both of these movies had Spider-Man in it, they would be better.
Maybe.
I don't think
I
any of
wouldn't
these
want
movies
Spider-Man to
should
be in such a shitty movie.
Well, yeah, if they're like B plots,
Yeah.
like maybe that could work
Yeah.
and very trimmed down.
Yeah. And that's how I felt about this movie. I was like, this is a compelling backstory to the villain in a superhero movie where the superhero story is supposed to be the most important.
Right. But
Like
they're still trying
Spider-Man 2.
They're trying to kind of make him an anti-hero.
And
They're trying they're trying to walk the line. So like I would have rather it just be a straight up villain origin story where like he's just bad.
Which it could still be, because he did drink the red blood. He could now just be, but throughout this whole movie, he's not really a bad
I think
guy.
it would be more interesting to just see him as a bad guy, but they do so much to try and make you like, oh, like they're worried about the audience hating him. Like if you make him likable but a bad guy, audiences
love to hate him.
will like him. Yeah. But like they didn't do that. Like they tried to walk the line to be like, well, he killed people, but they were bad people, and like, oh, like he at one point like went up to some thugs and like broke all the fingers in a thug's hand, but it's like they were thugs, so they deserved it, and he didn't kill them, so he's still good.
Yeah,
like,
and we thought he was gonna kill them.
just like just go like don't do this like teeter back and forth of like, well, maybe he's still a good guy in certain ways. Like just make him like, how often do we get to see just like villain stories where they're the protagonist but they're still a villain? Like that would at least be something
Almost
different.
never.
It might not be great,
Yeah.
but it would still probably be better than what they did here.
Yeah. I mean, we nitpicked quite a bit through this that I honestly don't even remember when we watched it.
It's very forgettable in a lot of aspects.
Yes. Yes, it is. Even the things that you thought could be worth making fun of.
Right.
We didn't even talk about like the cop and the detective storyline going on in this. Like,
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole storyline that like
There's like these two
you could
detectives
just not
that
talk
are like
about. They could just not be there.
they're like in a completely different movie, like you mentioned. Like that one guy's in a completely different movie because he's just like cracking jokes, and like he brings out holy water at one point. And he's like, it's triple blessed, so don't even try anything. And like I'm like,
just doesn't fit the tone that they've already set. Much like Jared Leto's acting as Morbius himself. I'm like, oh, he's a jokey guy now. Oh, this movie has jokes now. Like, what is this movie?
Right. It was all over the place. Like, I will give it like, I feel like people were trying in this, which I can't say about the next movie, but I feel like people were trying in this. It wasn't good because everything about it was bad.
Real bad.
But like Matt Smith wasn't phoning in a performance, I think.
No.
And he's a good actor.
He was giving it his all. He was giving what he was working
And Jared
with.
Leto, I don't think was good for this, but I could tell he was still taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, all we can ask of Jared Leto.
Yeah. It sells some aspect of this movie.
Yeah. Like,
Some
he can
aspect.
do the serious parts okay.
Yeah.
But when he tries to be, like, quippy, oh, that I Am Venom scene.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Totally didn't need to exist.
The trailer shot.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's like, I guess they're trying to connect it to the other movies, but it's just, like, such a dumb...
Both these movies had Daily fucking Bugle papers and shit in
Yeah,
them.
it was just like, remember Spider-Man, the thing you actually like?
You remember the Daily Bugle, a newspaper that's specific to New York City, and we're not in New York City? Where we might be? That's
We were.
another thing. Were we?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Then where the fuck is Spider-Man? It's so stupid.
Nope, both of these movies take place in New York City.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
And I don't really know.
Spider-Man's in it. Like,
You are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Get into Madam Web. Let's just we're going. We're
That was
jumping into-
Morbius. Very boring.
Like I said, we're gonna once we get through Madam Web, and while we're talking Madam Web, I'm sure we're gonna have some back and forth.
Yeah,
with
I just
Morbius.
had it. Yeah, just one more thing about Morbius.
Absolutely.
It was a bad movie in a way that I had trouble making fun of it because it was just bad. Like it just wasn't like campy bad. It was just like boring bad.
It did just get to a point where we just kind of stopped talking
Yeah.
about it, or even talking. We were just trudging through it, reading the subtitles, if you will.
Right. Right. It was just, there wasn't anything to like latch onto of like, that was so bad, right? It was just like, it's just, there's just nothing happening that is interesting to me.
Yeah. The movie really spoon feeds you what's going on a lot. There's a lot of like, he's talking about his powers instead of like, we just see scenes of him using his powers. No, Jared Leto's just going to tell us about his powers.
Yeah.
It's in a montage in his head.
Both of these movies love having the main protagonist talk to themselves about exposition.
Exposition is important. It's almost just go. Just go, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me the plot of Madam Web again, Braden, as only you can do.
Madam
I'll
Web.
dive in where I can.
So Madam Web starts off in the Amazon.
Horribly.
Oof.
It is cinematography done wrong.
Yes. I don't know what happened in this section.
Fuck?
I don't know what happened in this section.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened in this section. Did I say that already?
Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
This
This feels weird. Did we do this all again?
What?
What's going on?
What do you mean again?
What do you mean again? Well,
No. Yeah. Fucking awful, dude.
terrible. Yeah, so Madam Web
Oh.
starts off in
This is coming from a guy who had a good time watching this movie.
I did, yeah, to be honest. So Madam Web starts off in the Amazon where her mother was researching spiders right before she died. So we start off with her mother and this guy Ezekiel, who's the main villain, which they showed that in the trailer.
Yes.
And she's looking for spiders and she finds one, and then Ezekiel kills everyone, including her mother. Well, he thinks so. Right there, and takes the spider because the spider's like a magical spider that like they can't find that like gives you superpowers. They think it has healing
It has
properties.
healing power.
We don't know why the mother's
We
looking
learn
for the
about
spider.
this. Yeah, we learn about its healing properties way later. in
Way
the movie.
later, but we just know that
So
like
the whole
this,
movie, you're like, okay, that
Yeah,
spider gave him superpowers.
the spider is important. It's Amazonian, so no one back home is gonna really know what that means, and it's fine. We'll buy it.
Just tell an American that something's from another country, and they'll be like, yeah, whatever that
it's
witchcraft is.
It's probably magic. Yeah. The Amazon, deep in the Amazon, those people all do magic.
Yeah, half of America will be like, the Amazon. You mean like over in Africa? That's what half of them will say.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't really matter.
This movie treats you like
Yeah,
that.
they get the spider. He shoots everyone there and takes the spider for himself. But after he leaves, these Amazon people come up. They're like spider people, the Las Arañas, the spiders, literally
I have no
in Spanish.
fucking clue. Okay.
Las Arañas, I think, which are like the Amazonian people that are spider people that like I guess worship the spiders or have the spiders' powers or something. They save the mother. Well, kind of. She dies, but they save the baby. And they save the mother long enough to be like, when your
We
baby
can give birth.
Yeah,
here.
like when your baby grows up, she'll come back here and we'll give her guidance. Because I guess they can see the future a little bit too or something.
They must have some connection.
But
to
the mother
that.
dies and like...
Then what they did, I think, is what gave her the powers.
Yes, they made a spider bite her then.
Yeah.
So like, I guess to try to save her life, but like she was too far gone because she was shot in the chest, I guess. But they saved the baby's life, and the baby gets the power. Like Madam Web gets the powers. Cassie, her name is.
Cassie.
Cassandra.
Yes.
Cassandra Blake?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, smash cut to Cassie as Dakota Johnson, modern day 2003, as
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, as a paramedic with Ben from Parks and Recreation, Adam Scott, who is Ben Parker in this movie.
A young Ben, Uncle Ben.
A young Uncle Ben, which I believe a lot of people knew going into this.
Yes. And if you didn't care enough.
Yeah. But anyway, she's a paramedic with him. They're like good friends, but she's like super awkward and weird and like doesn't do well with relationships because every character tells us that she doesn't do well with relationships. Mm-hmm. And she's just like weird. She's like a weirdo.
Yes.
But she chose a profession where she has to interact with people and save their lives constantly.
Right.
They don't explain why. But
she cares a little.
She cares a little. We find that out later. That was when the movie was showing and not telling.
Right.
Because we find out that she does save.
The movie mixes.
Yeah, she saves. She has like some sentimental value things, but she tries to make it be like she doesn't care about anything or anyone.
Yeah.
And it's Dakota Johnson, and she talks like she's Dakota Johnson.
Oh my God.
And
a fucking like kid. So she saves this kid's like mom, and he drew a picture for it. He goes to give it to her, and she's like, what do I do with this picture, this fucking kid?
Yeah.
She's like, I can't even fold. He's like, take it somewhere and throw it away later. He's like, I can't even fold it up. Like,
yeah, she's like, I'm gonna fold this
really,
piece of
like,
paper
really
up.
shoving down. Like, she's stupid. She's so doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. She's like dumb about it.
Yeah.
Of how mean she is to people.
Right. Only to find out later that she keeps this thing, and
Yeah.
she still treats people like shit the whole movie, but the movie also tells you, don't worry, she
cares.
There's a good person in there.
She has some kind of trauma, I guess, in her life for being an orphan, I guess.
Yeah.
They don't really go into it.
Yeah, that's something they could have went into.
Yeah.
But whatever.
They just mention that she knows how her mother died
Yes.
in the Amazon researching spiders.
Right. Go on.
But anyways, yeah, I forget what happens. Oh, they're paramedics. They go to this one paramedic call. They save this one dude's life, but she ends up falling into the water in a car, and she dies for like 3 minutes before they can pull her out of the water. And that near-death experience awoke her powers. So now she can see into the future.
Yeah, something about being under the water and
I think it was like almost
the
dying.
impact and the almost dying awoke this ability in her.
Yeah, that she can see the future. She can like see the webs of time, kind of. She can't control it though.
I think something in the car crash is what made her powers possibly start. No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do that again, but I forgot.
Oh, her power of car?
No, her.
Oh.
I was doing like the reverse time. Like we're doing it over
Oh, yeah, yeah.
again, but I forgot what I said. So it was like
That would have been a good bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just terrible. Just absolutely terrible.
But anyway, she falls into the river, and like she's 3 minutes in the water, and then they pull her out, and she can see the future. And so,
But she doesn't have control of it. It just keeps happening
yeah, but
to
she
her
doesn't have
sporadically.
control of it. Yeah.
Right.
And so then, for the rest of the movie, they keep repeating scenes because she keeps seeing them in the future. And so we see the same scenes and same dialogue multiple times.
2, sometimes 3 times over.
Sometimes 4 times. When O'Neill, my favorite character, died,
Oh, yeah.
that was like 4 to 5 times she saw the
That was like
future.
an epileptic seizure of like back and forth
Yeah.
future past shit.
Yeah. So yeah, she starts to see the future, and she can't control it. And then she's at a paramedic thing. Oh, they go to a baby shower at one point, and it's like, oh, Peter Parker's mom, played by Emma Roberts. It's a very small part, small role, but that's just like another scene showing that she like has powers because she can like start to see. There's a lot of scenes establishing that she can see the future, and then they show us those scenes again because she was seeing the future, sometimes 2 to 3 times.
They played that stupid fucking game. Guess the baby's name. Totally. Yeah, that's a game people fucking. They might, but like fuck
They
that
do, yeah.
game. Fuck that game though for this movie.
Baby shower games suck in general, but
Guess the baby's name game. I don't know. That's pretty on the point for a movie that's like it's Peter Parker, and
Yeah.
then they kind of shy away from actually.
yeah, they don't show it right away because like we got to keep the audience in suspense.
We don't fucking know.
It's Ben
if you're
Parker's sister.
You've
but...
already brought us here.
Yeah.
Just make her say Peter Parker and we'll move on. Fuck.
But this movie is very divorced from Spider-Man. They try their best to show that this is a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man at all.
By having Spider-Man who's not Spider-Man at all.
Discount Spider-Man.
I keep cutting in. Go ahead.
Where even were we? This movie's a
Where's the
mess.
baby shower? I can't believe we're only this far in.
I know.
We're talking about this dog shit movie. It's like it's wasting my time all over again.
So anyways, yeah, she's at a paramedic scene, and like a guy that she knew gets hit by a car that she sees, and then she tries to stop it, and then she like doubts her power, like she doubts that she can actually change the future, so she just lets it happen. And she like knew this guy, and this guy was O'Neill, and he was my favorite character. He only showed up in that scene. We don't know anything else about him.
He was like the chief, I think.
He was like the chief or something. We get a few lines out of him. He gets fucking pancaked by a suicidal dump truck driver.
What we assume is a suicidal dump truck because it happens. You see the truck hit him. It's this whole thing. But then as the scene closes out, there's a shot of like the aerial view of everything and where this truck that hit O'Neill was heading.
The ambulance. He was in an ambulance that he hit. Yeah.
Yeah. We forgot to say that this guy just plowed into an ambulance. Nice dude. But the only route this guy was gonna go at that speed was into the fucking river.
Straight into the drink.
Yeah, like Like, what the fuck? They didn't need to close the scene by showing what the rest of the road went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They showed us that.
They did. It just made you question more. Like, what was he doing?
Where the fuck was that guy
Why
going?
did he have to why was he going that fast?
So things like that.
By the way, right next to... So the whole reason why they're there is because a warehouse full of industrial-grade fireworks is on fire and exploding, and people are dying, and that truck, I guess, is just dropping off a delivery there.
No fucking clue.
It wasn't roped off at all. Anyways,
Yeah.
not important. This is not that kind of movie.
And it's a chaotic scene. This whole movie feels very just like it's always going somewhere really intensely all the time.
Because you see the scene 3 or 4 times in slightly different ways, and you're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, you don't really know what to believe.
Yeah.
The whole time I was like, I can't believe I'm watching this still.
Yeah. But anyways, so Neil dies, and that traumatizes her because she's like, "Oh my god, I couldn't do anything to save him," and even though I knew that it was gonna happen, and like fucking Dove runs into her window, and then she's like,
does it?
Or does it? She's like, "Wait, that was the future. I'm gonna open up this window." The Dove flies through. She's like, "Wait, I can change the future.
Yeah.
This changes everything."
After she says to Scrooge McDuck, she's like, "Yo, motherfucker, you can't change things," to a movie that's all about changing things.
Yeah, she has to go home to watch old movies because the doctor told
The
her
doctor
to.
prescribed specifically old movies.
Yeah, and she watches A Christmas Carol.
Which is an old movie.
It is an old movie, and it is time-based.
At this point in time, Spider-Man 2 is an old movie, but in this movie's universe, Spider-Man 2 doesn't even come out till next year.
Yeah.
So we're talking old movies.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't mention the Spider-Man movie coming out because this is 2003 that they try to remind us of every once in a while.
Yeah. God. Beyonce.
Yeah, they chose Beyonce as like a yeah,
Pepsi.
Beyonce, Toxic, PepsiCo, our sponsor.
Drink it.
Anyways,
we jumped ahead though, sorry.
We did jump ahead a little bit. She ends up in a Subway.
Not the restaurant, like an actually Subway station.
Yeah, like a Subway station. I don't remember why, but she's there. She sees like a vision of like these girls dying, like Sydney Sweeney, and I forget.
Oh yeah, well that's when she's already on the subway. She just sees that these 3 girls on the subway she's with are gonna get killed.
She just
by
goes
this guy.
on the subway and just randomly starts to see the future that like
all over the place sporadically.
This
fucking
counts,
guy playing PSP is like, life on the subway fucking sucks.
Yeah, all very talkative subway. Everyone mentions things to her that we hear the lines 3 or 4 times because again every scene has to play again 3 or 4 times to show that she's seeing the future.
She is maddened by this, Cassie, and you as the viewer feel exactly the same way
Yeah.
she does. At least you can empathize because it's like, oh my god, I've seen enough of this as well.
Yeah, this is crazy. Fuck. Yeah. But she sees...
It's making me mad talking about it again.
Yeah, she sees Discount Spider-Man, who we know is Ezekiel Sims, because the movie never really tries to hide that, because it kind of shows his perspective every once in a while and shows what he's up to. But he wants to kill these girls because he can also see the future, but I guess only see like his death.
Small visions, his death in his sleep.
But he also has Spider-Man powers. Like he can walk, like he can climb on walls and has like super strength and stuff.
Seems that way. He takes a lot of hits.
Yeah, they don't explain why. I don't know if they explain why he can do that, but she can just see the future. He can't see the future that well. I guess they got different spiders.
I mean, she sort of has super strength by the end, but does she then? She gets crippled. We'll get there.
Yeah. Anyways, she sees that these girls are about to be killed by him. Sydney Sweeney's one of them. I don't remember any of their names besides the one I know is Anya. So we're just going to call them Anya, Taylor, and Joy.
Well, who's Taylor and Joy?
Sydney Sweeney will be Taylor, and the mean one will be Joy.
Dang it. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So, we saw these characters like briefly before, not very important.
They're all sort of connected to Madam Web, Cassie's life.
Yeah, like a web, kind of.
Like a web, like how we're all connected.
They have like a slight connection to her, but like they don't really know, like none of these characters know each other.
No.
But she sees the future, she starts to, panic and be like, I can save them. And so she's like, everyone get off now. Like, you need to get off now. Like, basically kidnaps them. And they're even like, oh, you're a stranger trying to take us away. Are you trying to kidnap us? And she's like, no, but you need to come with me and shut up because someone's going to kill you.
And I swear to God, it's not me.
Yeah.
But shut up.
There's a few more times where she sees the future. She's like sees herself be arrested and stuff, whatever. And then like Ezekiel Sims shows up in his black Spider-Man outfit and he kills all the cops around them so they can escape.
He basically helps them get out of their bad situation by trying to kill them.
Yeah, Cassie was already in handcuffs at this point, so all he had to do was just jump in with his super agility, kill the 3 girls, and then bounce. But he chooses to take out every single cop before he takes out any of the girls, who he's scared are going to kill him because he keeps seeing a vision in the future.
Maybe it's because the cops have guns, but like, I don't fucking know.
But he keeps seeing a vision in the future that these girls are going to kill him. So he wants to kill them before they kill him.
Yeah, and at this point in time, it's hard to say any of them have killed anything in their life.
They're all teenagers. 25-year-old teenagers.
25-year-old teenagers.
The movie keeps trying to remind us that they're teenagers, of being like, oh my god, I didn't know we were going after kids, even though it's very clearly Sydney Sweeney trying to like dress like a schoolgirl. And like the other ones are also like in their 20s very easily. Not important, again, but just something that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, ugh.
Just weird watching them try and act like teenagers from 2003. Not well.
Ugh. Ugh.
But anyway, she saves them.
I don't have much to say. I hated this fucking movie.
Yeah, they get into a cab. They escape. They're still kind of like, oh, like maybe you're still trying to kidnap us. But she's like, no, I can see the future. Or she doesn't tell them that until later. But she takes them out to the woods and leaves.
Like, follow me to the woods. I'll explain everything.
Yeah, I'm not kidnapping you. Follow me into the woods, and we will. We will talk. And then she's like, okay, I can see the future. You guys should chill here for like 3 hours while I go and do some research.
About me,
about my life, because I need to figure some shit out by myself. But you guys stay here in the woods, be good, and just chill here for 3 hours. These people that you don't know each other, but you'll be fine because you're all the same age. So yeah, more stuff happens. They fuck off to a diner because obviously they're not going to stand around in the woods for 3 hours as teenagers. They start to do like a sexy dance on the table for no reason, because I guess they just wanted Sydney Sweeney and the rest of the girls to dance at one point for guys.
Yeah, there was even one that didn't want to dance, Anya.
Yeah.
But Taylor and Joy convinced her to come up she's like, no, I don't want to. And they're like, you like Britney Spears, though. And they pull her up and they
Toxic
dance.
is playing at this diner because it's 2003, as they keep telling us.
Except the guy with the PSP.
Yes. PSP, we determined, came out in America in 2005. But, like you said, they couldn't use like a Nintendo or anything because it's Sony. Yeah.
So we see a scene of the girls getting murdered at this diner to the song of Toxic.
This time she sees ahead
scene.
like hours.
Yeah.
Or like an hour.
An hour, something like that. Yeah.
Because it's a half mile down the road.
Right, and Toxic isn't. She only like figures out what to do once Toxic starts playing on the radio, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta get going."
Yeah.
Now. And I'll be honest, I did dig the scene. Most of the Vision scenes do not give two flying fucks about. Some of them are at least cool to see.
Yeah.
Or like nice to see. Like when you see the 3 girls as the Spider Women, cool looking scenes. But I also liked him murdering them. Like when he murdered Sydney Sweeney. Taylor. Yeah, Taylor. Fucking
snaps her
just
neck.
Kills her. I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah,
fuck.
he like leans her neck against the counter and just snaps it. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy.
Which, like, obviously you knew that it was the future then.
Right.
Because the movie had done this many times before now, so you're like, and they're not actually dead.
We knew there was enough of this movie left that, like, they're not going to kill her like this.
No.
Just like that. Holy fuck.
No, she's listed second in the credits.
So, then it cuts back to Cassie, and she's like, I gotta get there in time before Toxic ends. And she just she uses her other superpower,
which is
of
car.
hitting people. Vehicular manslaughter is her second ability.
Which we determined she got that. That's also part of her origin, because that is how O'Neill died.
Right.
So that's how she figured it out. She saw that suicidal truck driver and was like, oh, cars can kill people.
Can kill people. I should hit people with
That's
cars.
going to be my main move for fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, she plows into this diner, fucking wrecks him. Which we all laughed at this part. That was genuinely a funny part.
Both movie had parts that we laughed at, even though it wasn't supposed to be funny.
Yeah, it was meant to be kind of serious, but it was just so abrupt.
There's a scene where she thinks she can climb the walls, and it's like a Spider-Man. She tries to climb, and then she falls. And the movie's trying to be funny, and we laughed, but not because it was funny,
Like,
but because
yeah.
of how stupid it was.
Like you said, we were laughing at them, not with them.
Right.
It was supposed to be a stupid scene, and it was a stupid scene, but it wasn't like...
Not how they wanted it to look.
Yeah. It was stupid that they tried to make that stupid.
In a movie that's very serious up until this point.
Yeah.
Stupid serious. Go. So she rescues them from the bar. They get in a car and they fuck off. They go back
Yeah,
into
they fuck
hiding.
off again in the car.
And now they're like, now the teenagers who were a little reprehensive are now like, okay, we will follow you anywhere. So she takes them to a fucking
Yeah, they're like
hotel.
die hard loyal to this chick now who kidnapped them.
Yeah.
Because like I said, from their perspective, all they see is that this weird dude in a black Spider-Man outfit shows up, and then she kicks his ass. Or I guess he did kill the cops at that one point. But like, she says that she could see the future, and they don't trust her at first, but then they completely trust her. To me, I would be just like, they're both crazy. Like, we're just in between a thing with two crazy people.
This might not have anything to do with us.
Yeah.
We just got to get out of
We're
here.
just in the middle of it.
But instead, they're like, we will follow you to the end of the earth.
You're our mother now. Yes.
Dakota Johnson, who's only like 6 years older than all these girls in real life. But
Yeah. What were their ages again? Anya was 22.
Taylor's 26 now, so 25.
Yeah, real
I
life
think they were
movies,
both
yeah.
25.
Yeah.
So
And Dakota Johnson is
it
34.
was probably like 32 when they shot it.
Yeah. So yeah, only a few years older.
But she's their mother hen, and they go stay at this hotel, and she kind of tells them a little bit about herself. And then she wakes up in the morning after having a stupid vision dream that was really fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on there.
I didn't know either.
And then I don't even know if it really even happened, right?
Right.
Like what the fuck was that? And then she wakes up and teaches the girls CPR because now they're friends.
Right. It was such a weird scene where it's just like a kind of long scene of them learning CPR and just kind of bonding, but in a very awkward, weird way. Where like Joy, the one who is mean this whole time, because that's her personality. She's like a tough chick.
She's a bitch.
She's bitchy.
Yeah.
But she was just like, you know what? You're actually, I forget what she says. You're actually kind of cool or something. Like,
Yeah.
like really corny when they're learning CPR. And I was just like, this is like a weirdly weird long scene.
Yeah. And just know throughout this, everything we're telling you about this movie, and I'll give credit where credit's due. Kaylee called this out. The entire script is written by AI. The entire movie is written by AI, but the script certainly is. Things people are saying the whole time, no.
Yeah, it's just not how humans talk.
For all the good things that come out that people are like, I didn't like the writing. Watch this and remember what bad writing fucking is.
I
dude.
smell
Holy
a robot.
Fuck. Yeah, real bad. Go on.
So yeah, where were we? They fucking learn CPR. She fucks off to Peru and leaves them with
Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben.
Which they don't really tell us.
Yeah,
They just know they're staying somewhere.
or they did. We just didn't hear it because we don't care.
That's true.
But yeah, she goes to the Amazon. I guess she takes a bus there, which would take a long time because she can't get on a plane because she's a fugitive. Because I forgot earlier, like those cops that
There's
were
a
killed.
backstory of her being a fugitive.
Yeah, the cops that were killed, like they think it was her, and they think that she kidnapped these girls, so she's like on the run. So she like takes a bus down to Peru, which had to have taken a while. Gets into the Amazon, finds the Amazonian people. They put her on like a spirit quest thing where like she sees into the past this time, and she talks to her mother and sees what happens and realizes that like, oh, the reason why she was searching for a spider in the Amazon right before she died was because Cassie was sick. Like she was like 9 months pregnant in the Amazon, like hundreds of miles away from a medical facility. But she's like, I need to find this spider because my little baby's gonna die.
Yeah.
So we find that out and we're like, oh my god.
Which was something you called the movie out. We all called the movie out before in the beginning. It was like, oh my god, you're 9 months pregnant and you're out here looking for spiders?
Yeah,
What's
in
wrong
one of
with
the
you?
most remote places on Earth.
You feel the same way Cassie does about the situation until this moment.
Yeah.
They tried.
They did. Or did they?
Well, the robot tried.
The robot
I
did its
smell a
best.
robot.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, the Spirit Quest thing. She comes back from Peru. Emma Roberts' water breaks, so Peter Parker's coming. Fuck, what else happens?
That's when they get attacked on the street. So they're
Right.
driving.
He comes back and attacks them.
He comes back and attacks them while they're driving to the hospital. And for the second time in this show, Madam Web takes I think she has an ambulance that she drives through a building.
Right.
And hits Spider-Man with.
Yeah.
So she
Second time.
vehicular
time.
manslaughter, her other superpower.
Yeah, she hits him.
She hits him, does not kill him, but does enough damage to get everybody away.
Yeah.
Gets Ben and Mary Parker away so they can get to the hospital, and then takes the girls to like run and finish the job with this motherfucker.
Yeah, and tell us what her plan is.
Oh yeah, she's gonna drive to. She has a vision. I think it's a little bit of both. She has a plan and she has a vision.
Yes.
Where she sees them at the location of the fireworks from earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
To set them all off while everybody's in there to
kill him. Yeah.
Kill him with the fireworks.
I feel like there could have been. Yeah, I feel like there could have been many other plans that you could have come up with besides that, but hey, it works. So.
Gosh darn doesn't. It's crazy how crazy everything that happens.
Yeah.
But
well, it was crazy when we realized like, oh, we're getting to like the final fight, and like nothing big's happening. Like
just a lot. It's a fucking mess. The whole movie's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Oh. Up until this point, but they have this big. They set up the fireworks. They're flying everywhere. She's seeing the future of like people getting hit by fireworks, so she can be like, "Don't go there," or like, "Duck, get down."
Yeah.
Or ways so that Spider-Man will get hit, but he's got super strength, so he's just taking fire. At one point, he punches a firework and it ricochets off his fist and blows up a helicopter.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck!
Blows them the fuck up. They're all dead. The cockpit explodes into fiery flames.
Yeah, so that made me laugh even more.
Yeah.
And they just have this ridiculous final battle. It's just that.
And where does it take place? Not just the industrial fireworks factory, but where does the final battle take place?
On the roof?
And
next to a Pepsi Cola sign.
Our sponsor. Thank you, Pepsi Cola.
Yeah.
The entire final climax battle takes place all on the Pepsi Cola sign.
Yeah. Which they ultimately use to kill the main bad guy.
Yep. Pepsi. The P from Pepsi falls on this dude and kills him.
The second P.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, it's the second P.
Second P, yeah.
Yeah, takes him out, kills him. After fireworks, all this shit hits him. Madam Web gets hit by an explosion, falls in the lake, breaks her spine, gets hit by a firework, goes blind. Sydney Sweeney dives in and saves her.
And they do CPR.
They do CPR. They do CPR.
Foreshadowing. That's why we needed that CPR scene, that really long, awkward CPR scene.
If those three girls wouldn't have learned CPR there,
yeah,
Madam Web would have died right there.
Because you know what they could have honestly done with that? They could have just been like, hey, I'm going to teach you CPR. Smash cut to a different scene.
And we would believe that they would learn CPR. But
we don't need to see it.
It's not Morbius, man. No smash cuts.
That's right. That's right.
It slowly blends into each scene.
No, in this one, it was, at the beginning, it was very circular, nauseating shots.
Oh, my God.
And then it was...
Luckily, it calmed down.
It calmed down to just, like, repeat, like, static camera shots. And then maybe a little bit of dynamic shots here and there.
Maybe.
But the opening was atrocious.
Atrocious.
If
the whole movie would have been like that, we would have turned it off.
I was getting sick from watching the opening with the camera angles and stuff. Like, what were they doing?
Truly, I believe the movie as a whole is an abomination.
Yeah.
That's the only word I have for it.
And they do this little zoom.
I think we made it sound better.
I think we did too.
And all we're doing is making fun of it.
Yeah, I think they did a little zoom every once in a while too. And then that calmed down, and then every once in a while it would pop back up.
Oh, I know. So it was like, is this something you do or not? Because first they did it a lot, and then it just popped up.
It was just very inconsistent, the cinematography.
Nightmare. No real fight scenes in this movie. No, like at least Morbius had battle scenes and fight scenes.
Right. The fight scenes were her just like seeing the future and hitting people with cars.
Yeah. Which, if you're into that, it's fun. We laughed every time.
Yeah, she uses objects to kill people. Like falling signs and fireworks and cars.
Yep.
Yeah.
At one point, she pulls some wreckage out of a wall and uses it as a shield.
Yeah, that was weird. That had us questioning if she had super strength, because a piece of sheet metal flies into a metal wall, like lodges itself in there, and she just yanks it out and uses it as a shield like Captain America and blocks all the fireworks that she can see coming in the future. And I'm like, when could she do this? Like, I feel like that shit would have been lodged in there. But maybe she had super strength. It doesn't really matter because she was blind and crippled by the end of it, too.
Yeah, and the movie cuts to like a little bit further in the future. She's got these fucking disco as fuck glasses that she wears. Oh, it's such a terrible scene. All the girls now live with her and they're like roommates.
Yeah.
And she just is such a dumb. So now she's fully into her power. She can see in the future anytime, all the time.
Yeah.
Anytime she wants. So she talks real lame, like somebody.
Yeah, she's like Professor X now,
so
but not
woke,
cool.
But no character
It's still,
whatsoever.
and it's still just Dakota Johnson, but it's just like,
yeah, just doing this.
you could tell. I don't think any of them are. I think at that point, and I don't know when that scene was filmed. You could tell at that point none of the actors were with it anymore. Like, I think they were all phoning it in at that point because that was some of the worst acting in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it was the final scene, and I feel like at that point you could just tell the actors knew, like, oh, this isn't good.
It's rough, man. Yeah, like they hadn't done it in months, and they were like, "Oh, we got to come back to shoot this." Okay, yeah, I can get that character again. God bless you, huh?
And they had
Achoo! Oh, how'd you know?
I know. It's like, don't you live with her?
Stupid.
You know she has.
That would get annoying. She does shit like that all the time.
Yeah.
Just tells you. Like,
Oh, Kung Pao chicken is wonderful. How'd you know it was Kung Pao chicken? Bitch, you know. She can see the future.
dipshit girls.
You've known her for a while now, apparently.
Well, you live together.
You live together. Oh, yeah,
She
I guess we
adopted them.
we forgot to mention. They're all like orphans in their own way, conveniently. Like the
Just
one.
like Spider-Man.
Just like Spider-Man, yeah. The one girl, Anya's dad was deported. Taylor's dad was like a step family that didn't like her, so she ran away. And Joy's parents are dead. Are they dead? Or are they?
I'm thinking like Japan.
They're
They just didn't
they're on
want
like
her.
a business because she's rich, I think.
Maybe.
Maybe, but her parents don't give a shit about her. Like they live overseas or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, Madam Web's adoption, and that also covers up the loophole of like, well, wouldn't their parents be looking for them? How can they just stay with her
worry
this whole
about it.
time? Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. How did the police clear her name from being a fugitive? Don't worry about it.
Terrible. Dumb movie.
Very dumb movie.
So bad. And I don't know, man. I know we talked about this a little earlier, but if I had to watch another one again, it would be Morbius. It's just because, I don't know. I just hated this movie. I just hated Madam Web.
They had the audacity at the end to show like scenes of the future where they ask like, can you see us in the future? The girls do. Anya, Taylor, and Joy. And she's like, oh, I can see much more. Or like, I'll be surprised. You'd be surprised of what I see. And it shows like them as Spider Women fighting bad guys with like their cool powers and shit. I'm like, you have the audacity to show us the movie that you should have made in the future to say that like that's going to be the sequel
That you're never going to make.
that you're never going to
make.
because this movie was dog shit
Fucking terrible.
and no one's going to watch a sequel to it.
No.
And I'm like, why
No
didn't you
one's
just
going to put money to make it. People
why
would
didn't
probably
you just make
watch
that
it, but
movie? Why didn't you just make that movie? They had an $80 million budget. They could have done it.
They didn't, man. It
I know.
sucked. And yeah, both movies terrible.
But anyways, I would watch
Shit
this
Talk
over
will-
Morbius.
Shit Talk will be a one movie thing.
Yeah.
From now on.
This was
'cause
too much.
2 in a day was I just couldn't. But within 20 minutes. So with Morbius, I was like, oh wow, we're already an hour in. It's almost over. This movie, I would look and be like, oh my god, there's still an hour left.
Because it makes you feel like it's longer because it keeps repeating itself.
Yeah. Fuck.
It's really a much shorter movie if they cut out the repeating itself scenes. But I know it's like
Or just
it's
used it better. Use it more tactfully.
because it is a future sight movie, so that's gonna happen. But just use it better. Anyways, I would pick this over Morbius because, like I said, I felt nothing during Morbius. I at least felt something during Madam Web.
Dude, the whole last 45 minutes, Braden was laughing, having a good time.
I was having a good time.
He was really into this movie. Even though he
making
hated
fun of it. I had a whole bit of like trying to make it into a good movie of saying like,
It made it fun. It at least got me a little more into it.
yeah, because it's not. Neither of them are. But if I were to choose one, I would watch this one again because at least there's things I can make fun of and laugh at more than Morbius. I'd struggled to even laugh at Morbius because it was just bad and I didn't like looking at
it was just a
it.
movie that happened. Didn't like looking at it. Yeah, I agree. I didn't like looking at Madam Web either.
Yeah,
but
that's
for different
fair.
reasons.
That's fair. I like that Madam Web at least had the color grading.
Madam Web
right.
could give you a seizure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't watch
Morbius
this if you have
is just
epilepsy.
like, I just
Don't watch either of them, but
Don't-
don't watch Madam
we've
Web.
explained it enough.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that was a tough one. What a way to end my birthday with just
Dog shit movies.
Dog shit movies, and then coming here and talking to you about those dog shit movies. Remember how fucking dog shit they were. But I like it because I'm always happy to record.
Yeah.
And there wouldn't be anything I'd want to do less on my birthday
Certainly.
than record. Anything I want to do less? I don't think I said that right. I don't think there's anything I want to do more.
Yeah, that's
than
correct.
podcasts on my birthday.
I wasn't going to catch you on that.
Yeah.
So.
Like, I was excited to know that I was doing this today on my birthday because I love
Yeah.
podcasts. I love making stuff for the shitters.
Hell yeah.
And I love talking to you.
Hell yeah.
And I think we put out another good episode. We've said so much about those two movies. That,
Yep, we explained it so you don't have to ever watch them.
Yep.
We weren't even going to warn you about spoilers
No.
because
Fuck it.
you're not going to care.
When it's that bad, dude, take our word and just roll. Or take our word, watch it and think about the things we've said. Maybe come up with some stuff for yourself.
Yeah, maybe you'll like them.
That's what Braden thought when he came in today. Maybe I'll like him.
Yeah, I gave them a chance.
Yeah. Terrible. Terrible.
Yep.
What a contrast to last night where we had seen one really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a contrast to their animated shit.
Truly. It's like different worlds.
You can tell
It's
where
like
all the money's going.
different
Or maybe
fucking
not.
worlds.
I think it's management because with $80 million, you can make a good movie.
They shouldn't have made this movie at all.
No.
They should use that $80 million for something else. When I heard they were making this, I was Madam Web. I was like, well, if they're going to make a Madam Web, they must have a good story. Like, why would you do this?
It's like with
otherwise?
Guardians of the Galaxy. They were kind of an unknown before, like a C-lister. But
So you must have a good idea.
Right. I was like, yeah, that's worked before, taking obscure characters and making them A-listers. No.
Not with this movie. Not with this movie.
Not at all. Not with either of them.
Truly. More with... I fucking hated Madam Web. Like I said, this movie made me angry. It was so bad. Whereas Morbius, I felt nothing the whole time. I'd rather feel nothing than just make it stop.
And I'd rather feel angry than feel nothing.
And that's why we're like yin and yang, dude. We're two
Yep.
coins. All right,
Well,
that is the show then.
Yep.
So
we'll sign off. 'Cause
We
we
have-
are roasting balls
we are
in this hot
roasting
box
balls,
right now.
and it is late. And it's we're lucky we made it this far.
Yeah.
So Nerd Shit in the Dark. Tell your friends. Telling people gets the word out. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Look forward to our next couple episodes. I'm not going to tell anybody what's coming up because we can never truly really stick to it. So just be in the dark until we get there.
Life happens.
Life happens.
Yeah.
We'll get there as we get there.
And shitters, I love you.
He does love you.
Good night.
Sleep tight.
Don't let the shit bugs bite.